No one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And a good morning to all of you out there. Oh, no. Camera off today. Hopefully we have avoided most of the rain throughout the county. I think we had a little bit yesterday, had a little bit again this morning. The downside, or the bad news, is even though the rain is probably subsiding here in San Diego, it's not New York. It's not New York. It looks rough for the next couple of days in New York City, especially the Bronx, where the Padres are expected to play against the New York Yankees the next 3 days. All supposed to be night games. You might be mixing up your schedule a little bit after what we find out later on today. Padres are expected to play at 4:05, if I'm not mistaken. Equator SoCal Padres pregame show expected to be at 3:05. We will try to keep you updated on any updates that we may get from New York, but 90% chance of rain, high chance of thunderstorms. It's through the entire East Coast, Northeast area. We'll see if we play baseball tonight. And if the Padres don't play baseball tonight, then we'll have to wait another day for Jackson Merrill. Although Frank Marchese said we might have to, tomorrow looks even worse in New York. Is that what it said?
Yeah, not looking great. It's 96% chance of rain tonight and then 98 tomorrow. So not good.
Could potentially see a doubleheader Wednesday, and then they play in the morning on a travel day back to Colorado.
It's possible. Both teams are off.
Highly possible. That might be the situation. We'll see what happens in New York. But let's talk about the Padres over the weekend against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They did what they were supposed to do against an inferior team all weekend long. They got some reinforcements back again, as Brandon Lockridge was now back with the team. They're expected to get Jackson Merrill for the first game in New York, whenever that may be. And then the other news that we got from Kevin Acee in today's daily newsletter was that Jake Cronenworth could be joining the team on Friday in Colorado. So that's all great news for the San Diego Padres. But kind of recapping the weekend, Padres beat down the Pirates 9-4 on Friday. I think everybody was talking about more Fernando Tatis Jr. exiting the game after getting hit by a pitch. He had the popped blood vessel in his forearm. It looked scarier than it probably needed to be. Everybody I knew that is in the medical field texted me and was like, nah, he's going to be fine. It's just a blood vessel problem. It's not going to be a fracture. He's going to be okay. Had to wait, obviously, for the update from the medical staff about it. And then he goes out the next day and has probably one of the best sequences on offense that you could imagine. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But on Friday night, I think a lot of people, and here's the deal with Fernando. And I think people need to understand this. And I'm all in favor of protecting Fernando when he gets hit. But the reason why Padres didn't retaliate right there, you're going to see a lot more of up and in against Fernando, because that's how you go against him. I mean, if you look at the way he stands, he's got that open stance and he always leans in, he comes in quickly. You have to make him feel uncomfortable as an opposing team. So you're going to go inside on the hands. That's the scouting report that is around Major League Baseball of how to defeat Fernando, high inside. And sometimes guys are going to miss. Now, this is where you get testy with another team, is if he gets hit multiple times by the same team, then you got to send a message. But if it's going to happen, guys. He's going to get hit again. That's how they attack Fernando. It's part of the game. It is what it is. That's why you didn't see any retaliation out of Mike Shildt. That's why the Padres didn't flip their lid too much. You're going to see more of that because of the way Fernando stands in the box, the way he attacks in the zone, kind of dives forward on his swing. You're going to see a lot of high and tight pitches. So he got hit. It's unfortunate. Good thing that he came back. Padres rolled without him in that game. The rest of the game, they won 9-4 over Pittsburgh. Arráez 3 for 5 with a double, 3 RBIs. Gavin Sheets had a 3 for 5 night with a home run, 2 RBIs. Padres took care of business against a team that was inferior. On Saturday, Bailey Felter had a great day for the Pirates. He looked legit. He was hitting his spots. He was keeping the Padres off balance. He was getting outs early in the contest. And then Manny Machado stepped up late in the ball game and hit a solo home run to tie it 1-0. To tie it at 1 after they were trailing 1-0. Sometimes against teams like that, you're going to get their best, and you got to be able to capitalize late in the game. And that's exactly what the Padres did. Machado, that's the reason why he is the highest paid player of the team. That's the reason why the Padres go where Machado goes. He was able to put the team on his back, tie the game. And then Fernando, we need to take an entire segment on this. Fernando hits a double, then steals third base, then steals home in the 9th inning to get the eventual winning run in the top of the 9th inning when you were stymied all day at the plate by Bailey Felter. Found a way to win on Saturday. And then on Sunday, you go to Stephen Kolek, and he gets his first major league start. He came in through in Seattle and came up through the minor league system with Seattle as a starting pitcher. Seattle moved him to a bullpen piece before he was acquired by the Padres. Padres used him as a bullpen piece last year as a Rule 5 draft pick. And then during spring, gave an opportunity to be a starter. He goes down to AAA El Paso, works on some things to get more comfortable as a starting pitcher, and the Padres pulled him up, and he threw a shutout yesterday. 5 in the 3rd innings of shutout baseball. He looked great. Stephen Kolek looked great yesterday. And I think we're about to go into the time frame of the season in which you get Stephen Kolek as the number 5 starter. We always thought that number 5 spot in the rotation was going to be kind of a rotation in itself. Now, 2 of those players in that 3 men that were going to be in the 5 spot of the rotation got pressed into action because Yu Darvish was on the injured list to start the season. And now when he comes back, who knows what they decide to do with Vasquez and Kolek and Kyle Hart. But I think right now is the time for Stephen Kolek to pitch in the number 5 position. And then you'll get back to Vasquez eventually. You'll get back to Hart eventually. I think it's going to be a rotation of guys in that bottom half of the starting rotation. Loved what we saw out of Stephen Kolek on Sunday. The Padres pitching staff's been great and been a big reason why they have had so much success. Hitting is going to come and go. And when they play the style of baseball that the Padres play, of grinding out at bats and being aggressive on the base paths and finding different ways to win besides just the long ball, they're going to continue to go on winning streaks like they're currently on. 5-game winning streak for the Padres. That puts them a half game out of first place behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is good enough for a half game behind the lead of the best record in Major League Baseball, which you're going to see out of the National League West probably the entire season. Padres took care of business for the first time in a long time. We have always seen the Padres play up to their competition and play down to their competition. And you finally saw them take care of business against a team that was inferior, that didn't look like they wanted to be there, that is not going to be a good team later in the season. And now the Padres have done that twice in sweeps. So we'll see what they got against the Yankees. I think this is a big tester right now coming up this week, whenever the games may happen. Again, serious weather in the New York area the next 3 days. Thunderstorms expected tonight, 90% chance of rain in the area. Again, when you see the percentage chance of rain, that's not a likelihood that it's going to happen. That means 90% of the area is going to get rain. Thunderstorms, high level of rain, right around 6, 7 o'clock Eastern time, which is when they're supposed to be starting the game. Merrill is expected to be back tonight if the Padres, in fact, play tonight. But we'll get you updates throughout the afternoon on whether or not the Padres will play tonight, whether or not Jackson Merrill's in the lineup, roster moves. With these games on the East Coast, we usually are the show that ends up having to break some of this news just because it starts happening a little bit earlier than we usually see out here on the West Coast. Want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Again, Padres took care of business. They finished off a 3-game sweep of the struggling Pirates with a 4-0 win on Sunday. Now 22-11, running a 5-game winning streak. Stephen Kolek yesterday impressed in his first major league start, pitching 5 1/3 scoreless innings, and the bullpen locked down the team's MLB best 8th shutout, which ties the Cubs for the most amount of shutouts to start a season back in 1907. Xander Bogaerts drove in 3 runs, continues to produce in his return. Padres are now 8-7 on the road, 10-3 against losing teams this season. Tough series coming up against the New York Yankees, against the AL East leading Yankees. Padres did what good teams are supposed to do. They beat bad teams, and they built momentum. How do you think the Padres did over the weekend? What do we think about their series against the New York Yankees? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Was that the most thrilling play of Fernando Tatis Jr.'s career? Most thrilling sequence? We're going to talk about it when we come back and the phenomenon that has been Fernando Tatis Jr., but more importantly, what has been a start to an MVP caliber season. That comes up next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number 1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10-17 on a Monday. People are still upset about Xander Bogaerts. Hilarious. He'll never be satisfied. He needs more hits now. He needs more hits. It's not disingenuous to say he continues to produce in recent form. He has had 3 RBI performances in the last 5 games played. He's got to mix an offer in there every once in a while. I do find it interesting, though. Xander Bogaerts has a 309 batting average on the road and a 183 batting average at home. 361 on base percentage on the road, 310 at home, 418 slug on the road without the home run, by the way. That was at home. And a 283 slugging percentage at home. 779 OPS on the road, 593 at home. Just 2 drastically different stat lines for Xander, home and on the road. He just doesn't like playing in San Diego, apparently. That's not true. We don't know. But he's starting to finally drive in runs. He has had 3 RBI performances in the last 5 games, which is more than any time that he had last year. He never did have 3 RBI performance last year. I found this quote very interesting in the daily newsletter. If you don't subscribe to it, you should. On Kevin Acey's daily newsletter. It's great. It's great. He had this quote about Xander. Xander goes, I think I'm finally figuring it out. I think I finally got it. Let's see, what's his exact quote? I got to go find his exact quote. He goes, might be onto something, he said yesterday. Bogaerts drove in 3 runs yesterday, second time doing so in 5 games. Before that, the last time he had 3 RBIs in a game was August 11th, 2023, in a span of 163 games. He drove in a run with the first inning single and 2 runs in the second inning double. Quote, today might have been the best following his on how his swing felt. Instead of like pulling off a little early, the second at bat, that might have been the game changer right there. That was a good one. And for everybody that wants to know if Xander's feeling good or not, start looking for him to hit the ball the other way. According to the article, he generally feels satisfied when he drives the ball the other way because it means his swing was timed right. But his pulling the double down the line at 109 miles an hour yesterday showed essentially the same thing. You can look at the article that Kevin Acey wrote on Friday, really Thursday, about Xander Bogaerts' struggles and where he's at. The biggest problem I have with Xander right now is the fact that he is making tweaks during his at-bats. I think that's catastrophically a bad idea. And that tells me that he's not necessarily in the greatest of headspaces when he's at the plate. So hopefully he's fixing that problem. And he starts to produce a little bit more. He's had a couple of good games. He's starting to turn things around, which is great to see. Padres fans, you're going to need this guy to produce if you want to go the places that you want to go. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's talk about the guy that's the best player on the team and the best athlete on the field, and a reason why you can let guys struggle. His name's Fernando Tatis Jr. He's the best player out there. I don't think there's really anybody in the game that's better than him. I think there's a lot of players you can argue that are close. I think you can make the argument that the fact that Shohei Ohtani can pitch might give him an edge, but I don't think there's anybody better than him. What he was able to do yesterday was insane. And every time I talk about MVP, I hate MVPs. I think it's a waste of an award. I think it's dumb. I'm not a big fan of the Hall of Fame, nor induction ceremonies. I think it's stupid. I think the Hall of Fame as a museum is great. But overall, I think a lot of these awards are dumb. The fact that Manny Machado can't win a Gold Glove in the National League is beyond stupid. Beyond stupid. So with all that being said, when I talk about MVPs, at least how I view it, most valuable player, in a sense of if you were to take Fernando off the Padres, would the Padres still be this good? No, I don't think so. He almost single-handedly won you the game on Saturday. Let's look at the sequence that he had on Saturday night. In the 9th inning, in a 1-1 tie. Pretty remarkable. He gets, how many, was there an out when he came up? I think there was an out. I got to pull up the exact sheet. But it starts with him getting a hustle double in the inning. You have the double?
The former Padre delivers, and Fernando hits a rocket into left field base hit. Hayes dove to his left, couldn't get there. Fernando going to try for two. Canario's throw not in time, and a hustle double by Tatis, who may have lulled Canario to sleep out in left field.
Hustle double by Tatis for sure. Hit the ball down and just past the third baseman, was able to make it all the way over to second and put himself in scoring position for the rest of his team coming up later. Oh, but it didn't end there. I don't know if you have this or not. Do you have the stolen base? He does. Frank does. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. That'd have been some serious work because there's no way they would have saved that. But in the ninth inning, as he stands on second base with Manny Machado at the plate, he goes and he swipes third base. That is an aggressive play. Aggressive play in the ninth inning by swiping third base. So again, that was a double to start the inning for Fernando. Arráez grounds out, in which he has to stay at second. With one out and Manny up, Fernando steals third base. Manny then strikes out looking. And now you got 2 outs with a runner on third and Xander Bogaerts at the plate.
And Bogaerts takes in the dirt. Fernando's going to try and score. Bart picks it up, lunges for him, and he's safe. Oh, what a play! Fernando came home on a ball in the dirt that kicked maybe 2 feet away from the catcher. Bart went up the first baseline to grab it, lunged to try and tag him out, and apparently missed. Obviously, the Pirates will challenge it, but for the moment, the Padres ahead 2-1. And if this thing stands, Fernando Tatis Jr. just produced the go-ahead run all on his own.
Welcome to the Fernando Tatis Jr. show.
The Fernando Tatis Jr. show, it was on Saturday. He's had some pretty remarkable plays in Pittsburgh. He tagged up on the ball in the infield and the fly ball in the infield. And I think the funniest thing about that entire sequence, again, if you read Kevin Acey's daily newsletter, it mentions how Fernando has been more selective on when he wants to go out and make athletic plays because he understands that longevity is very important. To me, it's the difference between, for all you Charger fans out there that are still around, or the ones that used to be Charger fans, the difference between LaDainian Tomlinson and Ryan Matthews. LaDainian Tomlinson understood the longevity effect and knowing that he had to be healthy for the entire year, but also an understanding in a running back position that you got to try to stay as healthy as possible if you want to last long in the NFL. And so what did he start to do? He started to run out of bounds a lot, in which people thought it was ridiculous. But at the same time, he was preserving his longevity. Ryan Matthews was a guy that had immense talent out of Fresno State, was a really good running back, but his body always broke down because he was constantly taking hits, not going out of bounds, and trying to grind and fight for that extra yard and show off show off the flash when he's a young guy. I think Fernando, with some of the injuries that he has had so far this year, or so far in his career, he's starting to understand that for the betterment of the Padres, but also for the betterment of his career, he needs to pick and choose when to go after it and when to slow down. And so that was in the article before yesterday. And he said, or before Saturday night's game. And in the article, Fernando says, I try to pick my spots when the team needs them the most. And what a time did he pick his spots. He got the double to lead off the inning. He stole third base, and then he steals home. Now, it wasn't a straight steal home, but it doesn't matter. Ball in the dirt, but the ball didn't get very far. It's not like it rolled all the way to the backstop. It was in the left-handed batter's box. And Fernando slid in safely to give the Padres the run they needed to beat the Pirates. Padres don't hit a lot of home runs. They're a high batting average team, and they find different ways to win. You can't just rely on home runs. And you are finding out that the Padres and a lot of other teams in Major League Baseball are going back to this kind of traditional way of just playing ball. I think you're seeing it with some of the players that they have coming up the ranks. I mean, for a long time, Padres are looking for the best athlete in scouting. And right now, some of the players coming up are ball players. Jackson Merrill, I would consider a baseball player. He's very athletic too, but he's a baseball player. Leo DeVries is a baseball player. You need that kind of style of baseball. That's what the Cardinals used to look for when they were scouting. They were looking for the best baseball players there were, not necessarily the best athletes. And now with Mike Shildt in charge, he's got a team full of athletes that A.J. Preller's brought in, and they're playing like ball players. What Fernando did on Saturday is a big reason why they're going to have continued success throughout the season. Why Fernando Tatis Jr. is an MVP. I don't value on the statistics. To me, it's the game within the game and seeing it with my eyes when you look at MVPs. Guys putting teams on their back. You see Manny do it, and you sure as hell see Fernando Tatis Jr. do it all the time. I mean, I would imagine that's got to be a top 5 moment off the top of my head for Fernando. I don't think it's the most impressive thing he's done. I mean, he's done so many impressive things. I don't think it's the most impressive thing he's done. I mean, tagging up on pop-ups in the infield is just utterly ridiculous. But even that, like, a couple times where he should have been picked off at first base, he's just like bending like Gumby and like all over the place. Sliding back into bags. I mean, that's impressive too. Some of the plays he's made defensively are impressive. His arm speed is impressive. Some of the home runs he has hit is impressive. I mean, it's hard to come up with a list of a top 10 moments in Fernando Tatis Jr.'s history. By the way, he's only 26. I think Padres fans are finally starting to see the season that we've been expecting out of Fernando since he first debuted back in 2019. And you're hoping, and you're knocking on wood, that he can stay healthy the entire year. I think you got a little bit of a scare on Saturday. And the thing is, you're still going to, like I told people earlier in the first segment, the way to attack Fernando, if you're a pitching staff, and the thing is, Padres fans, is the Padres would be in the exact same thing if Fernando was on another team. It's high and tight, so he's going to get a lot of fastballs in on him. That's the only way to make him feel uncomfortable, to try to prevent him from doing very incredible things. When you get upset is when the same team hits him over and over and over again. That's when it's time to be upset. But it happens. It's part of the game. So I was hot on Saturday when I saw that, and then, talking to some baseball people and talked me off the ledge. I understand where they're coming from. I mean, why incite more problems than you need to have? Fernando's okay. We're moving on. But the Padres are finally doing things that they need to be doing, and it starts with guys like Fernando, and it starts with guys like Manny, and those are the two that lead the way. Manny did it with a home run. He's starting to really heat up right now, which is great. It was also in Kevin Acey's article about Manny Machado and being able to get going. He goes on a absolute heater multiple times throughout the year. And the fact that the Padres, by the way, are off to such a great start, and Manny hasn't even played even up to his level, is really impressive. Now, it's a better April than he usually has had. But that being said, it's still not the best that he's ever had, and the Padres are still winning tons of games. Still a half game out of first place of the entire, not just the division, but all of Major League Baseball. Now, there's some things to be worried about when it comes to the Padres team. A very top-heavy lineup. Bullpen is pitching to an almost unsustainable level. But what's actually happening really well, that's working out really well for the Padres, is they're getting a lot of contributions from players like Stephen Kolek, who we'll talk about later. He had a great weekend, or a great Saturday or Sunday yesterday in a spot start. He might have a real chance of being able to be a number 5 starter for the Padres for this next trip through the rotation. I would let him do it for a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months. See where you're at with Darvish coming back. But I think everybody was ready to just freak out during that little rough patch that the Padres had against Houston, against Detroit, against Tampa. You're finally back to full strength, and the Padres are returning to form. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll hear a little bit from Mike Schilt over the weekend talking about his ball club as they return to form, and we'll take a look at what the bullpen has been doing during this winning streak. Just absolute insane numbers. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on, setting his number one sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:38 on a Monday. Padres expected to play the New York Yankees today. Maybe at some point, but there are thunderstorms in the Bronx. So I don't know if they're going to be playing tonight or not. I would probably weigh on they're not, but we don't know. We got to get updates from New York. When we come back in the 11 o'clock hour, we'll get you a full preview on the New York Yankees. Erik Boland, who covers the Yankees for Newsday Long Island, will be joining the show to get you the full breakdown. Probably give us a weather report, too, live in New York, as the Yankees and Padres will start a 3-game series against each other Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Tonight's game is supposed to be on MLB Network, but it's not exclusively to MLB Network, so you'll be able to watch the Padres on Padres TV. Also, you can listen to all the games right here on 97 through the Fan. Look forward to that if it happens tonight. Again, we'll get you updates as they come about, as we obviously have to do it for planning purposes for the next couple of days. We were talking about Fernando and kind of how crazy he was on Saturday, and it's not new to Padres fans. I mean, we've seen this guy like this multiple times. That's why when you have a player like this and he is surrounded by veterans and other good players, Padres are going to have a really good year if he continues to play at this level, and I don't know why he wouldn't be able to. And this is him, remember, this is him picking his spots. He said that with Kevin Acee the day before he did this. I'm picking my spots in a position where I'm going to do it when it best helps the team. Well, I tell you what, that really helped the team. What did Mike Schultz say about Fernando on Saturday? Here's what Mike Schultz's reaction was to that play sequence on Saturday night.
What a way to get to be the 7th fastest guy in the history of Major League Baseball to 100 stolen bases and 100 home runs. That's a pretty nice way of doing that. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Pretty much a one-man show, right? It takes a team, but he was on display to help his team. And, the whole thing was just a clinic. They're playing no doubles, gets the ball down the line, and then he recognizes where the outfielders are playing and doesn't miss a beat from the very beginning, and had his on his radar from right out of the jump. His first 3 steps were phenomenal. So he puts the pressure, gets the second, and then he's hunting, and he looks up and trying to figure out a way to get to third. And, now we got 1 out and Manny up, which clearly we have confidence in all those guys. But sees his opportunity, boom, pounces on it, gets to third. And now, listen, we got 2 outs. We got their closer on the mound. Again, we trust our guys, but he's hunting. And he went for the kill. It's just one of the better baseball plays you're going to see. It's on point for any and everything. It's just great competition coupled with special talent.
What a special talent. I mean, it was all over MLB Network this morning. And there's a clip out there on Twitter that I'm going to look at, but they're breaking down just his dynamic play and his instincts just being game-changing. I think it's a good call. It's more of an instinct thing than anything else. I mean, he goes. There's no hesitation. He just goes. It's fun to watch. And so whenever the Padres play the Yankees at some point, obviously with some rain in the area, it's going to be fun to watch him play. And Jackson Merrill's expected to be back, and the Padres are 2 players away from being at full strength, with Jake Cronenworth expected to join the team on Friday against the Rockies, and then hopefully Yu Darvish by the end of the month. I mean, look how much different this team plays at full strength, or at least just getting a couple guys back. I mean, with Luis Arráez, the Padres' record is insane. I got it sent to me like 15 times. I should have it memorized by now. But I got it last night. Padres are 21-6 when Luis Arráez is in the lineup. We haven't talked about him. I mean, he's been contributing for the Padres. He's hitting over 300 already again. Starting the season 0 for 16. Manny's flirting with 300. Tatis is well over 300. And you're getting just enough out of an offense that's, run scoring wise is in the bottom third of Major League Baseball. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the bullpen's been great. And the starting staff and the pitching staff has been exquisite. pitching staff for the Padres has given up the least amount of runs, and it's not even close. I mean, if you look at the overall MLB standings and you rank Major League Baseball teams based on how many runs that they have given up, the Padres are at the top, and it's not even close. Padres have given up 95 runs allowed. 95. Still haven't given up 100 runs yet. You look at the next team on the list. I have to flip the standings over because ESPN says I'm able to sort on ESPN. I'm not able to do that on MLB for some odd reason. The New York Mets pitching staff, which is also really good, they've given up 112 runs. They have played 2 extra games, followed by the Tigers with 116, Royals at 119, Rays at 128. Padres have given up 95 runs. Last team in Major League Baseball to give up 100 runs or less. Los Angeles Dodgers are middle of the pack, 140. They've had a lot of injuries with their pitching staff. But when you got a pitching staff like the Padres do, and you have the athleticism that the Padres do, when you get back to full strength, you are going to be near the top of Major League Baseball. I mean, what was the big problem for the Padres going into the season was depth, and hopefully guys don't get hurt. And they had probably as many injuries as you can think of to start the season, and they weathered the storm. I mean, they're right back to where they were. They made it happen quickly, but where they were when everybody got hurt to where they are now, they are the exact same spot. The only difference is they are a half game difference. They're a half game behind the Dodgers now instead of being a half game up. So it's a game difference. If they continue to play at this clip, which I don't think they will, but if the Padres play at a 667 clip, which is what they're playing so far, they'll finish with 108 wins. At 11 games above 500, if they play 500 the rest of the way, they're at 87 wins. So they're in a really good spot, and they are getting back to form. 5-0 since dropping 2 of 3 to Detroit, being swept by Tampa. Scored less than 4 runs only once during this winning streak. Luis arrived during the winning streak since returning from concussion protocol. 8 for 20, 5 RBIs, 3 runs. Padres bullpen has got 19 2/3, 5 runs, 12 hits, 23 strikeouts. And Xander Bogaerts is 5 for 20 with 6 RBIs, 4 runs scored, and a home run during the winning streak. You're seeing contributions from everybody. Mike Shildt talked about the all-around game that the Padres played yesterday after the contest. Said it was a good game all around.
Bogey was great. Really, really good. I love the fact that 2 outs, nobody on, Manny, boom, double, bogey, base hit, get the lead. Next inning, Diaz, really nice ball game too. Took a little bit of a pounding back there behind the plate, but did a great job on both sides of the ball, blocked well. Solo homer. Hits a homer, it's like, okay, it's 2-0, lock, boom, base hit, and bogey comes back up, so does it 3 RBIs, great play. In the 9th, another good play earlier in the game with bogey, just it's a really well-played baseball game by Xander Bogaerts and the Padres.
It was a great baseball game. I mean, Mike Shilt's going to protect his guys. He knows there's people like with some heat on Xander. He's going to be over. It's a little overemphasis on Xander there. I would even say that. But he's going to protect his guys. Mike Shildt talking about what was important for Kolek to settle in yesterday.
I think that's important. We were able to get up and get a lead early, so he didn't feel like the weight on the world's on him. And, it's still a tight game, 1-0, 2-0, 4-0. But, it does give him some breathing room to go out and just go, which is exactly what he basically did. He went out and attacked. He went out, had a lot of life to it. But he handled himself very well, did nice jobs.
Getting runs early, very important for the young pitcher and first ever start at the major league level to get in and be legit. We'll talk more about Stephen Kolek later on in the show. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Not a bad weekend, Frank. Not a bad weekend for the Pods.
Not a bad weekend for all of San Diego sports, honestly.
That's true. San Diego FC with the 5-0 victory San Diego Wave won 2-1 yesterday.
Legion won yesterday.
Legion won yesterday at Torero Stadium. I was walking out when that happened. USD Baseball had a 3-game sweep of San Francisco. And UCSD, the Tritons, went up to Irvine, took 2 out of 3 from the 13th ranked UC Irvine Anteaters in baseball.
There you go.
How about that?
Solid. I would call that a solid weekend, especially yesterday. You were telling me about USD's game yesterday. Got a little wild there towards the end. Apparently.
Oh yeah. Last inning, and I'll say what happens again. We'll get to your phone calls. Erik, Jason, waiting on hold. USD was trying to complete the 3-game sweep of San Francisco. They're in first place in the West Coast Conference. And they were up 8-4 going into the top of the 9th inning. In the top of the 9th inning, they gave up 4 runs. San Francisco came back and scored 4 runs that tied at 8. Bottom half of the 9th, after USD blew the lead, San Francisco hadn't led basically all weekend. They're trying to salvage the weekend series and try to make the West Coast Conference tournament as the 6th seed. They're 1 spot behind Pacific, and they only have 1 weekend series left. San Francisco does. Their pitcher gets the first 2 Toreros out, and then Connor Meidroth, the brother of Chase Meidroth, who plays for the White Sox, walked. And then the San Francisco pitcher hit the next 2 batters. And so the bases are loaded, 8-8 ball game. After your offense just put up 4 runs to tie the game, with the bases loaded and the freshman Rex Watson coming to bat, the pitcher balked in the winning run before he even threw a pitch to Rex. He goes to get set. He pauses and then goes back to not being set. The USD dugout starts screaming balk, and they start running onto the field. I'm literally taking notes, ready to get, introduce Rex to being the hitter and set up the big moment. And it's like, what happened? Oh, it's a balk. And USD wins. They went on a balk. That is a miserable way to lose. Miserable way to get swept in San Diego, to fly back to San Francisco. Now you're a game behind in the standings. Tough. That was rough. It was a 3-hour and 45-minute game. It didn't have to be. Didn't have to be. The other 2 games were 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was great. 3 hours 45. Didn't have to be. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Erik in Fallbrook, your leadoff batter for the Braden Surprenant show today. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. How we doing?
I'm doing well for a Monday.
There you go. We'll take that. So, no, yeah, I was trying to figure out what I was going to say. I was going to talk about Toddy, all these things. But I think being on teams, I think the biggest thing is, for me, it's Schilt. So last year, I think about his first year. I think the first half of the season, we were playing about 500 ball. There was people calling for his head. But in reality, as a coach, he's trying to instill his philosophy. And I think the whole time during that, right, because with a team of superstars, everybody wants to play the team. Schilt was just a human shield. And he was just like, no, this is me, knowing very well that his contract at that time is on the line. And I'm glad that the team responded, because it very much would have been his head if he wouldn't have produced. So I think instilling a philosophy, sticking to your guns, death by 1,000 cuts, putting the ball in play. I think the main thing out of all of this to me has been maintaining Schilt, because when you have somebody steering the ship, sometimes the people in the ship don't know where it's going, but I know that the captain that's driving it, as long as I do my part, we're going to get to where we want to go. So I think that's something huge for me. The baseball is heating up. Hopefully the weather starts heating up too. And yeah, I just want to go in and say that. And I just wanted to highlight Schilt. Schilt has been nothing short of amazing. And I think we're lucky to have him.
Erik, you're spot on, man. I appreciate the phone call, dude. I mean, Mike Schilt weathered the storm last year, right? Weathered the storm. I think there's something to be said about instilling the style of play he wanted to see and style of play that he wanted to be. I mean, it's tough to just kind of take over. Again, I think a lot of people just assume that it's baseball and you could just flip a switch and everything like that, even though the Padres have kind of done that since getting players back. But I agree with the sense of the style of play that Mike Schilt likes to play. Started last season. at game 101. They finally clicked into it, and it rolled to the second half of the season, and now it's rolling here in the beginning part of the season. And I think that's a big reason why the Padres have had a lot of success. Yeah, I mean, he overly defends his guys in the media, and sometimes the media gets disgruntled with Mike Schilt. But you know what? As long as the players like him, and he can get all those guys to buy into their philosophy and their style of play, and I think the coaching staff has been phenomenal for the San Diego Padres. You got to like what you're seeing, and you got to stick to your process that you know works and will have success. You know, Mikey Vargas said that on Saturday after the San Diego FC game. He said at the beginning part of his press conference, and we'll talk about San Diego FC later on in the show. They beat FC Dallas 5-0. He said at the beginning, he said, look, we had a rough patch there, but we knew that what we were doing is right, and we have to stick to our style of play and how we do things, and it's going to work out for us if we continue with the process. Process over results. You're hearing that from Mike Schilt. You're hearing that from Mikey Vargas, and you're hearing that from a lot of teams here in town in San Diego. So you shouldn't be surprised that San Diego had a good weekend last weekend. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we'll get you a full preview on the New York Yankees. Erik Boland, Yankees beat writer from Newsday, Long Island, joins me next on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Second hour of the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. We really appreciate you making our day a part of yours. If you haven't done so already, you can follow us on social media at B_SURP. You can also follow us on our new show Twitter, B_SURP show, B-SURP show. Be sure to follow 97 Through the Fan SD as well. And you can follow us live on YouTube. Everybody on the YouTube chat, we really appreciate that. Give us a like if you haven't done so already. You can follow me on YouTube and on all social media at B_SURP at B-SURP. All of our shows are posted in podcast form at the conclusion of the show, and they are posted wherever you get your podcast, whether it be Spotify or the Odyssey app or Apple Music. Just search the Braden Surprenant Show, and you'll be able to find it. And you can listen to us whenever you have at your best convenience. Listen on the Odyssey app. You can rewind to anything that we have talked about before. We've talked about how insane Fernando Tatis Jr. has been playing. And we've also talked a little bit about this upcoming series against the New York Yankees. We're going to dive deeper into that with Erik Boland. But they just opened the Bronx. Yankee Stadium has been opened up, and so he is in the process of getting through security and everything like that. So we will talk to him in just a matter of moments to talk about this Yankees club. This Yankees team currently in Major League Baseball has a top 10 record. They have the second, or should I say fourth best record in the American League. They trailed Detroit by 2.5 games. They are the leader in the AL East. They have a 2-game lead on the Boston Red Sox. Been able to use the long ball a lot. Aaron Judge is hitting 400 to start the season, but they have gone through kind of a rut of some injuries as of late. Losing Jazz Chisholm to the 10-day IL. Sounds like they've avoided disaster with Anthony Volpe, trying to get some players to produce outside from a pitching standpoint, outside of Max Fried. And so we will dive a little bit deeper into kind of the Yankees storylines in just a little bit. Trent Grisham is off to a great start as well, but he has made it through. He is getting settled at Yankee Stadium as we get ready for a 3-game series between the Padres and the New York Yankees. He covers the New York Yankees for Newsday, Long Island. His name is Erik Boland. He's been doing this for a long time, since 2009, does a tremendous job, and we are pleased to have him on the Braden Surprenant Show. Erik, how's it going? Hopefully you're staying dry in New York.
Braden, first of all, great to be on in San Diego, one of my favorite road cities, and has been for a very long time. And no, we are not staying dry.
Well, that's where I kind of want to start before we really dive into the series is, it sounds like there's thunderstorms in the area. I'm sure our engineer who is out there and probably setting up will give us multiple updates throughout the day. But what is the likelihood that we even play baseball tonight in New York?
Yeah, Braden, I mean, it certainly doesn't look very promising at all. I mean, I know the teams both have a mutual off day on Thursday, so maybe if tonight gets rained out, they play tomorrow night, and then certainly on Wednesday, and then maybe make it up on Thursday. Wednesday is supposed to be pretty nice the whole day, so you could potentially have a double header on Wednesday. Obviously, they're bringing everyone to the ballpark so far anyway. I mean, the email could come at any moment saying that the game has been postponed. But, as of now, they're, planning to have a regular pregame without batting practice, certainly. And they think that maybe it'll lighten up enough that they can, start this thing sometime around, 7 o'clock Eastern time. But I got to say, I mean, I've lived in New York, been in New York for a very, very long time, covered the Yankees, as you mentioned, for a long time. And this is one of those rains that just doesn't seem like it's going to go away anytime soon.
Erik Boland, who covers the New York Yankees for Newsday Long Island, joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Well, I have to get the rain update. We usually don't have rain in San Diego. We don't know what a rain delay is out here on the West Coast in Southern California. But let's talk about the Bronx Bombers. Obviously, the big storylines, I think, coming into this series, and there's a lot of them with the Yankees, but most notably has been some of the injuries that they have had as of late. Jazz Chisholm Jr. went on the injured list. It sounds like they've avoided a potential disaster with Anthony Volpe, but they did make a roster move to pull up George Lombard Jr. in the process. Obviously, with some of the injuries to start the year, injury bug hasn't been too great for the Yankees so far in 2025.
No, it hasn't been, and obviously you go back to spring training with losing Garrett Cole for the entire season, Tommy John surgery, and Luis Gil is the reigning AL Rookie of the Year, lost for the first 3 months at least of the season with a significant right lat strain, and 3 months might be at the low end of that, though indications are his rehab is going fine. But the Jazz Chisholm injury. An oblique, we all know how long those can take. Right now, the time frame for him is roughly 4 to 6 weeks, and they really don't have a whole lot of depth in terms of everyday options that you would be comfortable with if you're the Yankees or a Yankee fan, of guys that you would feel good about putting in there 5, 6, 7 days. And all of a sudden, DJ LeMahieu, who most of the fan base had given up on really probably 2 years ago, he's in a rehab assignment right now, started the year on the IL with a calf injury. He's in his second week of rehab games right now in the minor leagues. And, a lot of fans, again, were probably like, hey, no rush on that. They need DJ LeMahieu because he's a guy that if he is healthy, you put at second base and you're comfortable there with what you get in the field. And he is a multiple-time batting champion, and you hope at 36 years old, if you're the Yankees, that maybe he can recapture some of that form. But he still is, and I wrote this in Newsday this morning, DJ at 60% is still better as an everyday option than anybody that they currently have on their roster, and they really don't have a lot of good options in that regard in their minor leagues. So, lucky it seems like so far with Anthony Volpe, but if they were to lose him for a significant amount of time, along with Jazz Chisholm, the middle and the infield would be, I don't want to say disaster. That might be overstating a little bit, but something a little bit less than a disaster, but not good.
Well, in the absence, Aaron Judge has done a really good job. I mean, he is a MVP for a reason, Erik, and he's hit .423 already to start the year, 11 home runs, 1296 OPS. Out here, we get to watch Fernando Tatis Jr. do a lot of impressive things. What's it like covering Aaron Judge?
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. And as you mentioned in the open, I've covered the Yankees since 2009. So I've covered Judge since he was drafted in 2013 and then made his debut in 2016. And then, of course, really his breakout season in 2017 when he hit the then rookie record 52 home runs. I've said this when I've been asked that very question, that it must be the way the writers and reporters felt back when they covered Mickey Mantle, where, this guy just is seemingly so much better than everyone else. And it's not just the number of home runs, it's the prodigious nature of them and the big spots that they come in. Now, certainly it has not happened in the playoffs. That is definitely on his career resume, something that's been lacking. But, the regular seasons that he's put together when he's been healthy, he's right now a first ballot Hall of Famer, hands down, with no question whatsoever about that. I would certainly argue, pretty strenuously, anyone that would say that he's not, when you just look at the numbers he's put up when he's been able to be healthy. But, look, I mean, I'm not a Yankee fan. I didn't grow up a Yankee fan. This is a job. I get paid the same whether the Yankees win or lose. All of that said, I love the job. I don't want to do anything else. And one of the aspects of the job that you really feel privileged on a day-to-day basis is being able to see some of the greats of the game and to have been able to, chronicle in some small way Judge's career, which is now in its ninth season, is, that's certainly something whenever I'm retired, which hopefully is later rather than sooner, though in this business, as you know, we don't always have the control over that. But this will be something that I look back on without question as a career highlight.
Erik Boland, New York Yankees beat writer at Newsday, Long Island, joining us on the Braden Surprenant show. The only outfielder that's done a pretty good job. I mean, former friend of the San Diego Padres, Trent Grisham, who really struggled in his Padres career, was part of the trade to New York in that Juan Soto deal that got the Padres Michael King. He's really starting to hit his stride a little bit here with the Yankees in year two. 296 average, 8 home runs, 15 RBIs. What's been the biggest difference for Trent Grisham in year 2 in a Yankees uniform?
Right, it's really simple. It's playing time. He only appeared, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I played 60, 70 games, I think it was last year, would go whole week, even 10-day, 11, 12-day stretches without playing. And, any big leaguer will tell you that that's a really tough road to hoe, to as difficult as big league pitching is and has become on a year-to-year basis, and it gets better and better with the sheer number of power arms with all sorts of wicked stuff coming out of these bullpens, to only get, a handful of at-bats every 2 weeks, and then sit again for another 2 weeks. It's really hard. And that was something that, Trent really struggled with, obviously last year. This year, for, a variety of reasons, the roster construction worked out to where they were able to play him regularly, and he's taken advantage of it. But, there's no big scientific swing analysis to undertake or anything like that with him. And I remember actually talking to Jace Tingler, who managed Trent a little bit in San Diego. I've known Jace a very long time, and I talking to him on the phone after that trade a couple of off seasons ago. And he even mentioned that. He said, the thing with Trent is he's got to be in there, pretty regularly to take advantage of what his skill set is. And look, is he a 300 plus hitter with a 900 plus OPS, what we've seen so far? And he's got the, 8 home runs, which is, tied for second on the Yankees roster. Is he that kind of a player? Probably not, but certainly better than what he showed last year. And again, it all comes down to getting somewhat regular at bats.
Pitcher on Tuesday, or the second game whenever it is played due to weather out there in New York, Erik, will be Michael King, former New York Yankee. We talked to him a little bit about it before they left on the road trip about his next start. Being at Yankee Stadium, kind of had some mixed emotions about it. He said the biggest challenge for him is not laughing when Aaron Judge comes to bat, because they're still really good friends. How do you think Michael King's return to Yankee Stadium will go, and being a visitor for the first time, and what do you expect for Michael King back at Yankee Stadium, since you've covered him for a while?
Look, I remember talking when Michael was establishing himself in the big leagues a few years ago as a bullpen stud for the Yankees. He was kind of a swing guy, but really was a multi-inning pitcher that they would bring in specific circumstances. The starter was struggling in the 5th inning. There are a couple of runners on. They bring King in, he'd get a couple of big strikeouts, and then throw 3 scoreless innings, dominate, 9 up, 9 down, whatever. And it was an invaluable role for that year. But, Michael never made any bones about it that he wanted to be a big league starter. And I remember talking to Garrett Cole about King a few years back before he had started starting. And Cole, I remember very explicitly him saying, this kid's got everything you look for to be not only a good big league starter, but a great one. And I think that, obviously Michael grew up a Yankees fan, family's from the Northeast. I'm not telling you guys anything that you don't know. I'm sure he said it as well. Never wanted to leave the Yankees, was crushed when certainly at first when he was a part of that trade. But getting traded to San Diego allowed him the opportunity to develop into what he's developed into, which is a frontline starter. And I can tell you, the Yankees, when they were talking to A.J. Preller about that trade, they basically were pleading with A.J., take anybody off of our roster from the big league level to all the way single A, anybody but Michael King. We'll give you 10 prospects. Just don't take Michael King. They wanted to do everything they could to avoid King being a part of that trade because, they saw the potential that you guys in San Diego have ended up of seeing. And I don't think there's any reason to expect, yes, he'll have mixed emotions. He's, still close with quite a few guys in that clubhouse. And you mentioned, Aaron Judge certainly at the head of that list. But between the lines, he's one of the great competitors that I have covered. Even, just covering him a handful of seasons, you could see that in him as a young pitcher. And, when I started covering this beat, that was the last vestiges of the Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte. I could go down the line. Those dynasty teams who are great competitors, and Michael King between the lines is I believe, cut from that same ilk. So yeah, there'll be mixed emotions. I'm sure he'll have some family down here from the Boston area. But once the game starts, I would expect Michael to probably perform about the way that he's performed so far this year, which has been pretty damn good.
Erik, I appreciate the time, man. Hopefully we get a couple ball games in this week. I know it's going to be tough with the rain, but continued success in covering the Yankees. Look forward to talking to you again.
Look forward to it as well. Thanks for having me on and reaching out.
Erik Boland, New York Yankees beat writer at Newsday. Long Island, give us a very informative report, and we really appreciate his time. We'll get you more of a preview of the Padres and the Yankees, how the starting pitchers lay out, and everything like that when we come back. If you want to join the show, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Jason Encinitas will get to you when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, sending us our one sports station, 97 through the Fan. 11:21 on the Braden Surprenant Show on a Monday. Baseball coverage on 97 through the Fan, presented by T-Mobile. Head to T-Mobile.com and get a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Another huge thanks to Erik Boland giving us a full scouting report on the New York Yankees. It's always fun to play the Yankees. I mean, you don't, as a Padres fan, before 2 years ago, you were playing the Yankees once every 3 years, and you were seeing them at home once every 6 years or whatever it is, 5 years, 6 years. And now you get to see them every single year. 2 years ago, I did this trip with my family and some friends. Went to go watch the Padres play the Yankees. It's an excuse to go to New York, check out Yankee Stadium, did the tour, did a lot of sightseeing stuff. It was over Memorial Day weekend. It's the first year that the Padres aren't playing the Yankees over Memorial Day weekend for the last couple of years. And always a cool thing to see. It just feels different when you're playing a team that usually gets this much publicity all the time, like the New York Yankees. So it'll be a fun 3 days. Padres going with their best three pitchers against the Yankees in Pivetta, King, and Dylan Cease. Should be a fun week in New York as long as the rain subsides, which who knows? If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I see Jason and Encinitas on our chart. Jason, what's going on, man? You're on the Braden Surprenant Show.
Hey, Braden. Wanted to chat a little bit about what we saw from Fernando on Saturday morning or afternoon, whatever it was, and the elite athleticism is obviously there. But what I really wanted to talk about is that what he did as a microcosm of his maturation. And I think a few years ago, when he had the infamous scooter accident and then followed up by the PED issue, I was openly wondering if this contract was going to be an anchor on the Padres for a long time to come. And I think those setbacks for him, really fueled his maturation. And, it's easy with his elite athleticism to just be a big bopper and sort of rely on that. But I think what I took away from Saturday was his realization just with how many ways he can impact a ball game and taking to heart. I think a few years ago, he would not have taken to heart the feedback his father gave him. And it just was really special to see, the evolution and the maturation of Fernando. And that's really what I took away from what he did in the ninth inning on Saturday.
Jason, I first of all appreciate the phone call, man. Thank you very much. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, where the Padres are at with Fernando, where Fernando's at in his career, I think, sometimes you do have to go through times like that to finally get it, finally, grow up, finally, mature to the level that you're seeing Fernando at right now. I think Jason did a great job outlining all of those things because that's exactly what Fernando has done. I think the way he handled coming back from the PED suspension, I think the way that he went and got, he didn't want to get the shoulder surgery. He went and got that done. I think he, put his head down and just went out there and played and didn't make it a distraction. And the player that he is now is almost even better than the player that he was before all of those distractions that happened. And the growing up of Fernando right in front of our eyes has been fun to watch, not only from an on-field perspective, but just as a person perspective. You're starting to see him, really mature into this organization. I think you could say that about Manny Machado, who had a little bit of past in Baltimore and Dodgers, obviously, for that short amount of time, with some antics. But now it's just, you're seeing this maturity in some of these veteran guys now that has helped lead in the charge. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. So you got to Mike at Mission Valley. Mike, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, listen, Braden, I wanted to just compliment you. I didn't just come in here to throw flowers at you, but considering kind of the sports radio mentality, what's been happening in the hour of 10 to 2, for me, it's been pretty frustrating. And you're a complete fresh air, man. You're just an upgrade. It's informative. It's not just I don't want to critique people on the radio. I'll just tell you, man, I can listen to the radio show and not turn it off. I appreciate catching some sports chat during the afternoon. So you're up. I mean, you're upgrade completely, brother, and just like and appreciate. I'm throwing just a sincere compliment at you, and I hope the radio station continues to keep you on, and you're doing a great job. And seriously, I mean, I've been listening to sports radio for 50 years, and you kind of hear quality, and you just want to voice it and hope that management and you both recognize that we appreciate good radio. Sports talk, brother. It's good. And just wanted to throw that out. You haven't chatted with you at all yet, called in, but wanted you to know that people are out here, even though maybe it's just me, but I'm sure other people really appreciate listening and not having to turn off the low quality stuff that was going on for the last couple of years. I like Craig Elston, and there's just some of the other stuff that's just kind of irritating. I couldn't even tolerate it.
Well, Mike, I appreciate that, man. I really do. We're trying to make it as entertaining as possible for you guys and be well informed of the sports. There's a lot going on in the sports world. It's not just in San Diego, and we try to do that. But obviously, being a local guy that I am, and growing up listening to sports talk radio in town, trying to give as much as I can to local sports. I mean, I love this town. I love this city. Born and raised here in San Diego, fourth generation. If it's up to me, I'd never leave. I don't know what my future holds, but I appreciate the kind words, Mike. I really do. So thank you very much for the phone call on that. When we come back, we'll get you a full breakdown of the New York Yankees. And the question I'm going to ask you, Padres fans, and give me a ring. Let me know. Put it in the chat. And they are a little beat up right now. We talked about it with Erik Boland. The Padres are red hot. They took care of business against some inferior teams. Are they ready for the New York Yankees? What would prove to you this team is for real? Taking a series in New York on the road? Padres haven't done a lot of success on the road so far against good teams. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Do you consider this series a measuring stick? We'll answer that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11:34 on a Monday morning. About to be Monday afternoon, getting in that lunchtime hour. Hopefully you guys got some good food on tap. Jackson Merrill expected to return today if the Padres play. What's our latest weather update, Frank? It's going to rain.
Not and good.
Yeah, not good. Not great, Bob. Not great. Not great weather in New York.
It's raining sideways right now.
It's raining sideways. I wish we had that clip of Matt Scraby. Have you ever heard that clip of Matt Scraby?
I have not.
They're doing it's Gwen and Chris, and it's raining hard outside, and Scraby's in the middle of whatever he's doing, and then just flat out goes, "Wow, it's raining really hard outside. It's coming in sideways," like just out of the blue. It used to be a drop for a while. It might still be in wide orbit in the system, or Scraby has deleted it forever.
Banished it.
It is hilarious. I think we got to go find it. And anytime there's any type of
especially for
weather
now, yeah.
issues, hit the drop. Adam thinks it might be on the Gwen and Chris hotkeys. So during a break, if you want to be adventurous and look for it, and we can have it. Yes, which are admittedly jumbled and tough to find what you're looking for. I think Scraby keeps it like that on purpose.
See, that's the one thing. With someone like me who has CDO, which is OCD for people who are so OCD, they need to have the letters in alphabetical order. Yeah, this is not a good thing.
Oh, man.
It's really not.
I'd rather not deal with a Frank raging over here. But if you want to find it, and we want to give a weather update later in the 12 o'clock hour, Matt Scraby might be able to give us the weather report. So, but you got to be ready for the sports, though. We're going to get to that in just a second. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Before we break down the New York Yankees, whether or not it's a measuring stick for the Padres, I don't think it's too much of a measuring stick. Padres, I mean, I thought the Cubs were kind of a measuring stick. You split with them. The Padres have played some good teams already. You know, the Yankees at this point are not at full strength, so it's a little bit different. But it'd be nice to take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, a team that you haven't done that in the last 2 years. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Marcus in Menifee. Marcus, what's up, dude?
Hey, how you doing, Braden?
I'm doing well, man.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. What do you got for me today?
Well, this question I think is very good to hear the opinion from Frank because his Mets unfortunately signed Soto. So, Frank, how do we match up against the Yankees? What do you think?
Very well. I think the pitching is very good. I think that'll work very nicely against the Yankee lineup that certainly is not at its best. You heard Erik Boland talk about the amount of injuries that they have and how weak their replacements are. Your biggest thing you have to worry about is I've seen a lot of deep fly balls in the corners at Petco this year, whether it be the right or left corner. And as we all know, Yankee Stadium is a little league ballpark, and those fences are about 200 feet away. So those fly ball outs in the corners that you were getting here are going to be home runs there.
That's a fact. Marcus, appreciate the phone call, man. Is it extra sweet, Frank?
That I know where that
Yankees? Is it extra sweet that it's against the Yankees for you? As a Mets fan?
I mean, it's nice whenever the Yankees lose. I don't care if it's the White Sox, if it's the Rockies. I don't care. As long as the Yankees lose, I'm good.
As Tricky D said. Yeah, I can actually hit a slow pitch ball out at Yankee Stadium. I think the fences are further in than at the Poway Sportsplex. Yankee Stadium's a bandbox, and every time I mention that, Yankees fans go, "Well, we have I got to be careful what I say here. The gaps are the biggest in Major League Baseball."
That's always the
argument. Oh, sick. Yeah, but if it's like 295 down the right field line, does it really matter? Before we get to the sports thread, let's talk about this New York Yankees team. They're 19-15 on the year. That's first in the AL East. They got a plus 52 run differential, torpedo bats. That's been a big non-factor anymore. That was like a flavor of the 2 weeks.
Especially when both guys using the torpedo bats are hitting under 220.
Not working anymore, is it?
It's almost like Anthony Volpe isn't good enough to be a major league ball player, as everyone's been saying. But, hey, torpedo bat.
I digress, Frank. Plus 52 run differential. They're 11-8 Yankee Stadium. Haven't been that great. They're coming off of a series loss to the Tampa Bay Rays. Even though they're off to a strong start, they're leading the AL East by 2 games, despite some recent inconsistency. Padres might be playing them at the right time. Offense has powered them through a wave of injuries, leading Major League Baseball in slugging percentage and OPS. Lineup is top-heavy but extremely dangerous, led by MVP-level production from Aaron Judge. Is it 420 something? What is he? 425? What did we put on the show? What is he hitting? 423? 423. Insane. Despite him hitting 423. And surprisingly strong numbers from Trent Grisham and rookie Ben Rice. Now, hopefully Trent Grisham doesn't kill you all weekend or all week. That would be rough. They're doing a full Yankees-Padres breakdown today on MLB Network, talking about the starting rotation comparisons, lineup comparisons, bullpen comparisons, everything like that. Pitching staff is unbalanced. Their rotation ERA is 4.07. It's 17th best in baseball, so the Padres got to try to jump on the rotation ERA. They do have to deal with Max Fried, who's been electric. Bullpen ERA, 3.03, 7th best in baseball. Injuries to Garrett Cole and Marcus Stroman have left the rotation with questions behind Fried and Rodon, both of whom are carrying heavy workloads early in the year. You will see both of those players. Rodon is expected to pitch today, whatever that means, if you even play. And Fried is expected to pitch Wednesday. Again, whatever that means, because we don't know what the schedule is going to be like this week. Trending players, Aaron Judge, 3 homers, 1598 OPS over 6 games. He's locked in. Cody Bellinger, 931 OPS in his last 6 games, starting to heat up. Paul Goldschmidt, veteran presence. Oh, no. Why did they do that? MLB Network played the dudes that sang on KUSI on the show. Can we get rid of that? Do we have to continue to play that? See what these guys did?
And they're rightly laughing at it too.
We don't know what they're saying. It's on mute, but yes, I don't think they're downloading it to their phone. I'm done with that. Those guys got some unnecessary ridicule as well. But at the same time, are we past this by now? Are we past the... I don't even know what the song... I have blanked it out of my memory because I don't want to hear it. But anyway, I digress. Austin Wells, catcher for the Yankees, couple home runs last 6 games, but he's only hitting $190. Devin Williams lost the closer role, 8.18 ERA, but has tossed 3 scoreless frames last week. Mark Leiter's been shaky of late, 2 runs allowed over 1 1/3. You're going to see Carlos Rodon tonight. If they play, 4-3 with a 3.43 ERA, leads Major League Baseball in hits per 9, 52 strikeouts and 44 2/3 innings pitched. 3 straight quality starts with a 0.9. They're playing it again. I can't believe it.
They're full screening it this time
as they go to
break. That's great. Love you guys too. Thank you.
Why? Things are going well for the Padres too. Do we have to continue to play the gentleman that sang the song before the playoffs on KUSI, where then everything went to a screeching halt? Was that 2022?
Yes, that was right before
2 years ago.
Before
3
the
years ago
Phillies series. If you needed a reason not to watch the game on MLB Network, I wonder who they're going to be rooting for tonight.
Spoken like a true Mets fan. Okay, Rodon against the Padres, 2.88 ERA in his 4 career starts. Clark Schmidt will pitch Tuesday or game 2, whenever it is, and Max Fried's expected to pitch Wednesday. Lineup strength is their top 4 hitters with 8 home runs already. Judge has 11. Grisham and Rice both have 8. Volpe's got 5. Depth, versatile contributors like Ben Rice, 920 OPS. Trent Grisham, 979 OPS. Righty-lefty mix with solid on-base guys throughout the lineup. Starting rotation has been their problem behind Fried and Rodon. Guess who you get to face? Fried and Rodon. Injuries and inconsistency plague the staff. Closer instability. Devin Williams struggles. 8.18 ERA as mentioned before. Forced to shuffle. Luke Weaver is currently closing. He has not allowed an earned run. No Garrett Cole. No Marcus Stroman. No Giancarlo Stanton. No Jazz Chisholm. no Jonathan Loáisiga, Volpe's day-to-day. You might be getting the Yankees at the right time. All those players are out. Don't expect any of these players to come back during the series. Maybe Anthony Volpe is his day-to-day, but they just pulled up George Lombard Jr. As a potential replacement. We'll take a deeper look at the Padres and Yankees series coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, but it is time for today's sports thread. What's going on the rest of Major League Baseball?
You know that group chat, the one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, we got Frank Marchese now officially with us for the rest of time. Frank Marchese. Big congratulations to Frank. Where's the round of applause, Frank, for yourself? You got the applause things on there?
It's about...
There we go. So now it's your first official sports thread. We don't count last week.
Okay, fair enough. So let's get right on into
Number 1.
You got off to a great start with the guest, too. Erik didn't answer the first time and then had to go through security. So hopefully no mess ups here in the sports thread, buddy.
No, hopefully not. We begin today with where the there it is already. We begin today with where the Padres just left. During Wednesday's game between the Pittsburgh Pirates and Chicago Cubs, a fan fell from the 21-foot high Clemente wall in right field after a go-ahead double by Andrew McCutchen in the 7th inning. The fan, who has been identified as 20-year-old Kevin Markwood, was rushed to Allegheny General Hospital in critical condition. We are happy to say that Markwood's condition has made, quote, significant progress, according to Jennifer Phillips, who set a GoFundMe for Markwood. Phillips said that Markwood is talking and is alert. As of writing this, which was yesterday, the GoFundMe for Markwood has raised over $27,000. The Pirates have called the incident an accident after an internal investigation. Braden, I've watched this video over and over and over again. I still can't really tell what happened.
It looks like he got overly excited. It looks like he was under the influence, and so he flipped over the rail.
Now that's what they said. Again,
that's what it looks like to me when I watched the video, and the way he falls with his body kind of being all over the place. It just, the story that they said, it matches the video that I watched. Obviously a very horrific scene there in Pittsburgh. I'm glad things are progressing. I mean, he avoided a major disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. And they said that the group that he was with had 7 beers after looking through logs, and apparently he had 2 of them, so underage, but he didn't buy them. So that's what the investigation concluded, said it was an accident.
Number 2.
All right, it came as a shock to Denver Nuggets fans when their team fired head coach Michael Malone and GM Calvin Booth with 3 games left in the regular season and the team in the top half of the Western Conference. After Saturday's win in Game 7 against the Clippers, Nikola Jokic said that it was what the team needed. Jokic said, "I think the owners wanted to change something, change the energy, and he probably did." A Denver Nuggets executive doubled down on those comments by saying, quote, "If we didn't make the changes, there's no way we're even in a Game 7. The Nuggets pounded the Clippers 120-101 on Saturday, outscoring LA 72-40 in the second and third quarters alone. We know sports is a copycat business, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. Could this possibly start a new trend of teams needing a wake-up call heading into the postseason?
I don't think so. I think they're taking a victory lap because they won. I don't believe what they have to say on we would never made it this far. I think it's the organization going like, see, look, we're right. Again, you look into the details of the situation, and it sounds like, you know, the head coach and the GM were disagreeing on the who needed to play at what time. Head coach wanted to play the best players that he had to win right now. GM wanted to get the young guys in there to build for the future, and they just got rid of both of them, and then they beat the Clippers in 7 games. Now, if they go out there and beat the Thunder, all right, sounds good. Sounds like they made a good change, but the Thunder they're like a notch above everybody else in the NBA. If the Thunder go out there and sweep the Nuggets in 4 games and none of the games are close, which could potentially happen, I'm curious to see what they would say. But they're protecting their ass right now. So I hope it's not the case, but we've seen a lot of these teams. I mean, did it work out for Memphis?
No.
It didn't work out for Memphis. I mean, they barely made the tournament, and then you know who knocked them? And then the Thunder ran them out of the building. I'm not a believer in this. I think it sets a bad precedent. I mean, it goes to the point of, like, why even have coaches to begin with if you're going to just get rid of them all the time? So,
as my family likes to say, you can't fire the players.
No, you can't.
Number 3.
English soccer star Harry Kane has done almost everything there is to do in the world of football. Despite his accolades, Kane was missing something from his trophy case. Specifically, a team trophy. Kane has finished second with Tottenham in the Premier League once, lost in the EFL Cup twice, Champions League final in 2019, and lost in the finals in the Euros the last 2 years in 2021 and 2024. He has scored 447 goals and played 694 matches, winning the Golden Boot, which is the league's top scorer, 8 times, but never won a club trophy. Until yesterday, when Bayer Leverkusen drew 2-2 with Freiburg, clinching the Bundesliga title for Bayern Munich and Harry Kane. We saw it last month with Rory McIlroy winning the Masters. Does it feel better for you as a fan when a player who has been chasing something for so long finally gets over the hump?
I think it's cool. I mean, we've seen a lot of San Diego athletes never make it to that level of winning a championship, but have put on, great careers and have done a lot of impressive things. So, I mean, it's kind of like the Steve Young situation in San Francisco with the Niners. Finally got the monkey off the back. So congratulations. It's a nice little story right there.
Absolutely.
Number 4.
On Friday night, the Boston Red Sox got a scare when first baseman Tristan Casas went down and was carted off after trying to beat out a slow roller against the Minnesota Twins. Yesterday, the Red Sox got the news that they will once again be without Casas for a long time. Casas missed a large chunk of last season with torn cartilage in his rib cage and will now miss the remainder of 2025 after undergoing surgery to repair a ruptured patellar tendon in his left knee. Casas was only hitting .182 with 3 homers and 11 RBIs this season, but this is a major part of the Boston Red Sox and their future. We just saw the Padres lose big stars and drop 5 of 6 games. Those were short-term injuries. Boston is now going to miss Tristan Casas for the entire season again. Does an injury like this help put into perspective what the Padres went through over the last couple of weeks?
I think it does. I mean, you could have lost some of these guys for the year. I mean, that's a way different pill to swallow than, only missing them for a week and a half. What were they at? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a couple of weeks now with some of the injuries. It could have been catastrophically different. So tough news for the Red Sox. Obviously, they're going to have to try to make up for it at the trade deadline, something that we don't think, the Padres, I don't know if they can survive a catastrophic injury like that to one of their star players. So hopefully they continue to stay healthy. But yes, perspective is key.
25 years old, and he's already had 2 big season-ending injuries. That's
and the one that he just had was such a fluke, too.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Such a fluke.
I couldn't let my first show as a producer go without bringing up my New York Metropolitans.
Oh, here we go.
Now, before you start rolling your eyes and tuning out, let me explain.
It's all right. I can talk about TCU football. It's fine.
With their 6-5 loss in Game 1 of yesterday's doubleheader in St. Louis, the Mets have now accomplished a very specific feat. They have now lost the 34th game of the season, the last 16 consecutive years, against 13 different opponents. The last time they won the 34th game of the season was back on May 14th, 2009 against the Giants in a 7-4 win. That oddly specific stat was courtesy of Brooksgate on Twitter.
So they haven't won the what game is it? The 34th?
34th game.
They haven't won the 34th game of the year since when?
May 14th, 2009 against the Giants.
May 14th, 2009. I was in 8th grade. Getting ready to graduate 8th grade. The last time they won the 34th game of the year.
I was in 10th.
That's a stupid stat. But it's insane.
I love these niche and obscure
hilarious.
stats. What do you think they're fun?
I think they're fun. I like it. I think it gives people a kind of a betting chance. 34th game tonight? Is that tonight?
For the Mets?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was yesterday.
Yesterday, and they lost again.
It was supposed to be today's Monday. It was supposed to be Saturday. They got rained out on Saturday, so they played a doubleheader, lost both ends of the doubleheader yesterday in St. Louis.
Needed that information yesterday, Frank, 2 days ago. Could have made some fans some ducats. Great job, Frank, on the sports thread. All for the Mets talk on the sports thread's great. Are the Padres finally becoming the kind of team that takes care of business against weaker opponents? We'll discuss, plus hear from what Mike Schild had to say about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, 77.1 Sports Station, 97.2 The Fan.
Time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Lunchtime hour in America's finest city. Are we seeing some sunshine out there a little bit, Frank? Not too much.
Too much blind in my face. I
Yeah,
can't
well,
really tell.
yeah. It's funny. Like, I like having the blinds open a lot, but the problem with that is during certain times of the year, you can't see the board and the lights on the board, which means you don't know if mics are on or if they're off, or if modules are on or if they're off. That's kind of catastrophically bad if you are a
I could tell how that could be a problem.
That could be
yeah.
a major problem in our industry for multiple reasons. So, yes, the blinds have to be closed. Plus, the backlight behind me would be miserable, too, for the people trying to watch on YouTube. So, can't be able to check out the sun. You have to, like, kind of peek through the blinds a little bit. It's still kind of cloudy, though. Here's the biggest indicator if stuff's going to burn off or it's going to be a good day. Ask the East County folks if it's sunny outside, because if it's cloudy there, it's cloudy everywhere. It ain't going to be cloudy in East County if it's not cloudy at the beach. Usually tends to burn off out there a lot faster than by the coast as we enter the May gray June gloom season. Jogo's need a green screen. It's possible. FCC lurking. Nate. In the chat. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you being there. What do we think about the new ticker on the bottom? I think it looks great. Frank Marchese did some great work on that. Now, you set the tone pretty high. You got to be able to continue that every single day.
Yeah, I know. See, this is, I work myself into a shoot. Like I have these great ideas and then I remember, oh God, I got to keep doing this. This was a lot of work once.
That's why you got to start things slow on a first date with when you go dating, Frank.
It's coffee. I get it.
You got to start slow. Otherwise, it's expected. You have to upgrade as you go. And some people I know don't do that. They go out of the park first time, and they're like, how are you going to top that, my guy?
I keep forgetting that champagne taste requires champagne money.
True.
And champagne energy. I don't always have champagne energy.
But we like the ticker. Not, you know what time the game one is for the NBA. So we don't have to have anybody call in.
Nope.
What time's the whatever game start? It's right here. It's right here.
Like I said, I wish I could slow it down.
Yeah,
Like
it's kind of quick.
It's I've looked everywhere in StreamYard. If anyone from StreamYard's watching, make it to where I can edit the speed of the ticker, please. And if there is, just call me an idiot in the chat and say, "Oh, it's right here." I'm like, "Oh, I should have found that."
Nate Taylor says you should share some beaver nuggets on your next first date.
Oh,
I love Buc-ee's. Don't get me started on Buc-ee's.
That was
when you were with
interesting.
Scravy.
Yes,
yeah.
that was...
I didn't get to partake in the Buc-ee's talk. Buc-ee's is great.
I've never been. I've seen.
Oh, it's wonderful.
I do have. I'll bring it in at some point this week.
Do you have a Buc-ee?
I'll use that as my water bottle this week. I bought for no reason at all.
You know what I bought at Buc-ee's?
A Buc-ee's gas pump water
nice.
bottle.
You know what I bought it? You know what I bought at Buc-ee's?
Everything. Ah, look at that.
Whataburger Yeti. It's getting beat up though.
Cover the sponsor, man.
No. We're looking for a sponsor.
No, I know. Yeah, that's right. If you want Whataburger
Fine, you
on
want me
the
to
stream,
want to do the side?
There you go. You want Whataburger on the stream, you got to sponsor us.
That's right. What could that be? I need a new one. It's all beat up and stuff like that. People are kind of delayed on the chat. Cloudy in El Cajon, overcast in Rosarito. Rosarito's not East County. It's down in the South Bay, below the border. But yes, You've never been to Buc-ee's?
Never really had I mean, I've driven through Texas on cross-country drives, but we've never stopped. It's always the northern bit of Texas.
What part? Like Amarillo?
Like whatever I-40 goes through, like the very top.
Yeah, that would be Amarillo.
Yeah.
Because the times I've gone through Texas, there's no Buc-ee's on the it's mostly in the corridor of like 35.
Okay.
Than it is on the east-west of 10, 20, 30, and 40.
Yeah, we always take the 40 when we,
you want to go through hell, which is El Paso to Odessa. That is hell. That is hell on earth. If you want to know what happens to you, if you're bad, you go to the barren wasteland that is in between El Paso and Odessa.
I'll raise you.
That's where you go.
I will raise you. If you want to know what happens when you're bad, you go through the blank canvas that is about Kansas City all the way to El Centro.
There's wheat. At least there's something. There ain't nothing out there, and it smells like oil, and it smells like fire, and you're just like, nope, don't want to break down here.
I'll tell you now, I could spot a cow from about 5 miles away on flatland now.
Yeah, absolutely. So the times I've gone to Buc-ee's, I've gone to Buc-ee's multiple times. I've actually been to Buc-ee's more in Tennessee than I have in Texas, and there's so many now in Tennessee that people think it's actually from Tennessee. It's not. It's a Texas place. And you make really good money working at Buc-ee's. It's like In-N-Out. There's like managers at Buc-ee's that make like $250,000 a year.
Jesus.
But they're never in like very popular areas. I mean, you're just out there by yourself.
Never in places where people want to be.
Yeah, exactly. The first time I ever went to Buc-ee's, I heard about it so much. We were driving to Austin on Thanksgiving because TCU played we played Texas the next day. We played them on Black Friday. It was supposed to be on Thanksgiving. They moved it to Black Friday. Thank God. And so I'm traveling with the team. There's 5 purple buses. And we stopped at the Buc-ee's in Temple, Texas. And I was like, what? And the Buc-ee's in Temple, Texas, as we got off the bus, this is your dinner tonight because there's not going to be anything open in Austin because it's Thanksgiving. So 4 buses full of football players, support staff, and the traveling party unload into the Temple, Texas Buc-ee's.
That was a very good night for them monetarily, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. And we spent an hour at Buc-ee's. They have so many great things.
It's a
brisket
gas
on the
station.
board.
It's a gas station, but it's the size of Walmart.
It looks like it's like a Home Goods and a Costco put together.
Yes.
And they got like a barbecue area, and they have like these combo burritos that are delicious. Now you have to understand, it's not like a burrito you would get at a taco shop in San Diego. It's like a glorified Taco Bell burrito, but it's delicious. Their brisket's good. They have brisket sandwiches. They have all these different things that you can get there. Cleanest bathrooms I've ever seen. When I've had to drive out to Fort Worth for school and back, it's usually stopping out of Love's. You know you're going to get a decent bathroom. But there's a Buc-ee's. I'm telling you right now, if you're on a road trip this summer and you see a Buc-ee's or signs for Buc-ee's, that is where you need to stop.
Yep.
You need to stop there. I was driving with USD home from Tucson earlier this baseball season.
you.
And we're driving.
This was right after the Beaver Nuggets thing.
Yes, so I'm driving on the team bus from Tucson to San Diego. Now, I've done that drive thousands of times. I've never done it in a bus. And as we're leaving Tucson, I'm sure it's on my Twitter. I posted it. It was Buc-ee's like 900 and something miles in the opposite direction. And I tweeted out, stop the bus, turn it around. And one of my, Drake Hills, who joins us on Fridays, texts me and goes, where's the nearest Buc-ee's? Thinking like he read it wrong, thinking like there's one near us. And so he's like, I will drive out there right now. And I said, bro, it's still in Texas.
It's 1,000 miles
It's
behind
1,000 miles away. He wanted me to stop and bring him something. I'm like, dude, it's in the opposite direction, 1,000 miles.
Now, there is Buc-ee's merch. Like, Scraby got those Beaver Nuggets on Amazon. So it's like you don't have to go to Buc-ee's in order to get some Buc-ee's stuff. Like I got my water bottle on Amazon also.
Yeah, I got you could get one of the players at AJ Frosto for USD. Actually, the funny thing is before we drove back, I noticed he had a Bucky keychain attached to his backpack, and I said, Frosto, where did you get that? And he was like, we were playing in a travel ball tournament, and I picked it up, and then we started playing better, so it's kind of like my good luck charm now. Wherever he was when he was like before he got to college. And then all of a sudden driving out of Tucson, 900 miles the other way. Wow, they're going to build a Bucky. And this is why Adam Paul's such a great contributor in the chat. He has all this wealth of information, like where the nearest Buc-ee's will be built in 2026, which would be Goodyear, Arizona.
Now I have a reason to go to Goodyear when I go to Phoenix next year for the race.
You know what? I think we've never had the midday show go to spring training, but with there potentially being a Buc-ee's out there, I think that needs to be a little bit more incentive to go out there. So, I've been to two Buc-ee's in Texas. Now the closest one in Fort Worth was up by the racetrack. So if you go to Texas Motor Speedway, it's right there. It's in the parking lot at Texas Motor Speedway. They have one in Temple. That's been to that one. I've been to the one in between Knoxville and Nashville multiple times. And the funny thing is I was driving. We went out for the Tennessee-Alabama game a couple years ago. Flew into Nashville where my sister lives. Was driving with my sister and my friend Matt to visit my brother in Tennessee, Knoxville, for the weekend. My parents had already been out there, and I kept seeing the signs for Buc-ee's. And I was like, I don't care what. I don't even care if we need gas.
We're going. Because
I was driving my sister's car. I was like, Sid, I don't know if we need gas. I don't know if we're stopping there. And they were against it. I'm like, trust me, we're stopping there. And since stopping there, her and her friends stop there every single time now. My buddy Matt was like, "Oh, this is great. This is phenomenal." We took a picture with the statue of Bucky outside. Phenomenal. It is a place you must go. When you're planning your road trips this summer, you got to stop at the Buc-ee's.
In-N-Out or Whataburger, I'm seeing in the chat.
Don't start this. Don't start this. They're two different things. That's an apples and oranges comparison. They are. Have you been to both?
I personally have not been to both. I will say...
You've obviously been to Whataburger then and not In. Been in and out. You haven't been to Whataburger is different. It's not the same. And people always like to push my buttons on the Whataburger conversation.
Shake
it's
Shack
a different
blows both
burger.
of them out of the water, sorry.
Shake Shack's money. I would consider Shake Shack a different burger too. I agree. I think In-N-Out is not as... In-N-Out to me is not as like, I got to go there first thing when I fly to California level. It's good. It's not like phenomenal.
It's not worth waiting 45 minutes in a drive-thru for.
No.
No. God, no.
But again, like Whataburger's not like when you have In-N-Out, it tastes fresh and it tastes like, oh, this is almost borderline healthy. In fact,
except the fries.
Yeah, but if you get
Fries
a 3x3 at In-N-Out, if you get a 3x3 at In-N-Out with cheese, it's like, I think it's like 600 calories with like 40 something grams of protein. Like it's actually, it's not that bad. And when the next day, I don't feel as bad eating In-N-Out as I do eating other fast food. It's a healthier fast food option. But that's not what Whataburger is. Whataburger is perfect for a hangover. It is perfect for, it's a greasy meat to cheese ratio is off the charts. It's a gigantic burger. A double meat Whataburger with cheese. Take all the other S off of it. You take the lettuce they have is gross. The tomatoes, it's not fresh. Don't put any vegetables or fruits or whatever on the Whataburger. Just have it for the meat and the cheese. And it's delicious. If you want to have sauce, I don't mind having it. They put mustard on their burger. And see, that's a big point of contention for a lot of people. Mustard should not belong on a burger. I like mustard, so I don't mind it. But ketchup and mustard's fine. You want to add mayo, that's great. Just the spread that you get from Whataburger, meat and cheese, that's it. It's a top-level burger. I get it every time I go to Texas. I have to get Whataburger when I go to Texas. Spicy ketchup's the way to go. As Zubat in the Twitch chat said. Spicy ketchup is next level fast food, Frank. The spicy ketchup.
Yeah, I know we have to go to break here, but that's Whataburger's the place owned by the Wahlbergs, right?
No.
Oh.
It's not.
Oh, that's
Wahlburger. That's
That makes more
Wahlburger.
sense.
Yeah, what a burger. It's what a burger, but
No,
the
I
Texans
knew-
say Whataburger.
No, I knew.
We got to take a break.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. Unfortunately for you guys, the nearest Whataburger is in Arizona. So you're going to have to drive very far. But local In-N-Out's probably packed right now, and they get you in and out very fast. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We have ignited the chat. Oh, we apparently always have to talk about food in the noon hour. We need a noon hour food sponsorship so we could just talk about that the entire time. Padres, are they finally, and we totally skipped this part, are they finally becoming the team that takes care of business against weaker opponents? We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each and every day from 10 to 2, keeping you hungry on a Monday. 97 through the Fan. Now I got people asking me Whataburger orders on the chat. I think Orthodox, what's his name? Orthodox Evans is in Texas. And so he's asked me Whataburger questions. One of the best Whataburgers I've had. It's a limited time in Texas, but I think it's at the New Mexico locations. Is the Hatch Green Chili Burger. Delicious. The other thing they do for a limited time is a buffalo chicken ranch sandwich, where they take 3 chicken strips and they put it on their Whataburger bun, and then they do buffalo and ranch dressing on it. Delicious. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're done talking about Whataburger. I know it's the lunchtime hour, and none of you can have the Whataburger. I've never had the wings. I didn't even know they had those. So, can't say I've had it. I don't even think the Hatch Green Chili Burger's out right now. I don't know. I'm not paying attention to Whataburger's deals because I'm not out there anymore. And when I do go out there, then I'll look. Maybe in the fall for TCU football. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's talk about Padres baseball. Reset here. For some reason, we've talked about food in the lunchtime hour the last couple of weeks. I don't know what food item we're going to talk about tomorrow. Everybody keep... Nate in the chat always likes saying, you got barbecue back there? Once I get back from Italy, we'll be more barbecuing. Somebody asked me for the ribs recipe I have. I might post that. We do have a lineup if the Padres play tonight. We'll get to that in a little bit. But there's a clip from Mike Shildt I want to play that I think really emphasizes why this Padres team is going to be good for the long haul. And whether the Padres are finally becoming the kind of team that takes care of business against weaker opponents. Here's what Mike Shildt said yesterday after the Padres beat the Pirates 4-0 on the team's ability to extend innings by doing the little things.
If you always play the game right, you get yourself in the best positions possible consistently. And, the little things lead to big things. We had some big things today, but yeah, the hustle, the 2 strikes, the 2 out, nobody on. One of the underrated things that happened in the game today, we talk about like pitcher's head work. It was awarded yesterday with Vasquez to keep the guy at second base hit to center, able to throw him out. Today, Kolek, really good head work. They're looking to get something going. He's able to defend the opportunity for them to try to steal a couple bags. All that's on display consistently.
Taking care of the little things. These are things that you instill in young athletes at the lower levels. We have that saying at Cathedral for Football. We put TLT on the back of a lot of our off-season workout shirts that we have for the kids. The little things. How you do one thing is how you do everything. That could be used in sports. That could be used in life. And when I heard that, and again, I get a lot from coaching. Obviously, I try to mentor and do the best I can for the future with a lot of the kids that I coach, and they're going to be achieving a lot of great athletic things that I've never been able close to accomplishing. But I learn a lot too when I coach. And being involved with USD baseball, I've learned a lot, and being involved with the local sports teams in town, and what I have seen from successful teams is they take care of the little things, and how they do one thing is how they do everything. And the Padres before Mike Shildt were never really that team. And so when you got the phone call, or when we got the phone call earlier in the day by Erik and Fallbrook talking about Mike Shildt and his style of play, you're seeing it on display. So when you're a top-heavy team like the Padres are, the style of baseball that the Padres play is a style of baseball you will get for you will have success with for a long time. It's how you're able to tread water when you lose half your studs that you pay for a couple of weeks. It's why the Padres were able to really flip a switch back when they got just 2 players back, let alone a third in Brandon Lockridge, who's contributed. And so you see the Padres doing it and taking care of the little things and winning on the margins and getting those a little bit extra, bigger leads that they have on the base pass, to stealing bases, to being aggressive on balls in the dirt, to being smart about it, not just relying on the big hit, finding ways to score runs. That plays everywhere. That travels, and that plays in October. And we could do that in a lot of different aspects of our life. How you do one thing is how you do everything. You know, how the prep for this show. I mean, Frank and I spent a lot of time putting effort into the show and trying to give you guys the best product we possibly can. You can't just show up and wing it. I mean, nobody at our station just shows up and is like, hey, we're just going to talk about the sport. Turn the mic on, talk about sports. Doesn't happen like that. I try to go through my everyday life. And sure, there's days where I feel lazy and, you know, I got to try to battle, and everybody's trying to do that. But how you do one thing is how you do everything. And the Padres are doing that by taking care of the little things. And they are evaluating the importance of what it takes to take on teams that are weaker opponents. How many times have we seen the Padres over the last couple of years, and relatively before Mike Shildt got in charge, where they would just play down to the level of competition and struggle against teams that they should just be hammering so many times? This season, the Padres are now 10-3 versus losing teams. In past years, the Padres struggled with trap series like the one they just had in Pittsburgh or the one they had against Colorado. And they play Colorado coming up this weekend. And again, everybody is so worried about playing the Rockies because of how many years in the past the Padres have struggled. This is a difference. You got to flush out the past, man. The way that the Padres are playing right now is different than they did even at the beginning of the season last year. Look at the end of last season. If you want to look for recency, and you want to look at what this team has done in the past and make it a relatively fair comparison, you have to look at game 101 from last year on. I thought Erik and Fallbrook had a great phone call about Mike Shildt. It takes some time to instill everything that you want to instill in a team and how you want to do things, how you expect things to be done. It takes some time, especially with some high, profile players that the Padres have. But again, if you're looking at what the Padres have done this year, and again, people are always worried about the Rockies. We're worried about the Rockies because the Rockies have had our number. Look at last year's game logs. From game 101 on, when you really started to see this team play at the level that they've played at. Game 101 on last year. That's where you got to look. Go to Baseball Reference, go check it out. Padres were on a streak right then. When they played Colorado after the fact, they'd really done well against them. They did lose one series at Colorado, and who knows what the Padres series will be like against the Rockies coming up. But they started to take care of business against inferior teams late in the year last year. And they're starting to do it to start this season. Again, 10-3 against teams below 500. And the 3 losses are against Tampa, in which you didn't even have anywhere close to the players that you have rolling out this afternoon, potentially, against the New York Yankees. It may be early in the season, but Padres fans, are you buying this version of the Padres as a serious postseason team? Do you think they are finally set up enough to stack wins like contenders do against inferior teams? That's been a problem for them so many times in the past. I think they are. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you want to join the show, give me your opinion on that. If not, put it in the YouTube chat. Tweet at me, at B_SURP, at the B-SURP Show. On Twitter, you can follow me on all social media. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres got their lineup out. We'll see if they even played today. Batting leadoff in the right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second. And at first base, Luis Arráez. Batting third, and at third base, Manny Machado. Xander in the cleanup spot against left-handers. I don't really like Xander in the cleanup spot. Luis Camposano bats fifth, DH. Oscar Gonzalez in left field. Elias Diaz is catching. Tyler Wade is playing second. Brandon Lockridge in center. No Jackson Merrill in the lineup. So maybe he's back today, maybe he's not. Maybe with the rain, they're just kind of waiting off. We'll get you updates as they come about throughout the afternoon. If we get some on whether or not the Padres are playing, I don't think they are, but you don't know. 90% chance of rain in the area in New York and the Bronx with thunderstorms. Tomorrow's supposed to be bad as well. Wednesday's supposed to be a lot better, and Thursday both teams have an off day. So this might be kind of a weird situation for the Padres. I think, there could be a situation where they play a doubleheader Wednesday and then they play in the morning on Thursday before they head to Colorado. We'll see what happens with the Padres schedule upcoming. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We do have to take a break here in the next 30 seconds or so. So Brad and Escondido will get to you when we come back. Again, Padres kind of up in the air right now whether or not they're going to play due to rain in New York. When we also come back, we'll talk a little bit about Stephen Kolek. Just a spot start? Or is he a real piece of the pitching puzzle? How much do you value what he did yesterday, even if it's against the Pittsburgh Pirates? Did Stephen Kolek show enough to earn another start even when everyone's healthy? Mike Schilt talks about Stephen Kolek's start from yesterday. We'll get to that. We'll break down what he did in yesterday's start and why it's a positive for the Padres moving forward on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 12:38 on a Monday, Padres Yankees. Here's what we got. The latest. Again, Jackson Merrill is not in the lineup. But here's what was said. According to Kevin Acee, Jackson Merrill has been traveling today. He is believed to have arrived in New York a short while ago. Plan is for him to play tomorrow. Brandon Lockridge will start in center field tonight if the game is played. Doesn't really sound like it's going to be played, but you never know. Never know. A.J. Castleville had this to say. Jackson Merrill has a locker at Yankee Stadium, but has not been activated and is not in tonight's starting lineup and raining all day here. We got the update from Erik Boland as well. Didn't sound like he's like, I've been covering the Yankees for a long time. And when it rains like this, they never play. So, you might have to have some different plans for today. I'm sure we'll have Gwen and Chris on if that's the case. We'll have your Padres coverage throughout the day on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, the home of the San Diego Padres. And we'll keep you updated as we get updates on a lot of these different things. Now, that being said, we have a couple of things here. We have to get a contestant for our game coming up in about 5 minutes. If you could take me down in some sports trivia, which I think is Padres Yankees related today, you are qualified for a chance to win our grand prize, a trip to see Bruno Mars in Las Vegas, including 2 tickets to his show at Dolby Live at Park MGM on September 3rd, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and a $100 gift card. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Call in. Take me down in sports trivia. You'll be qualified for a chance to go to Vegas to see Bruno Mars. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I do want to get to your phone calls, though, as well. We got Brad Escondido and Steve in San Diego. Brad, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Braden, as always, man, you're fabulous. Thanks for taking calls.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate that, man.
Hey, Padres of today are like versus Padres of yesterday are like Indiana Jones. All they had was a whip. They were good, but all he had was a whip. Padres of today are like Batman. They got a utility belt, man. He can pull anything from everywhere and win. That's the difference. We've got the first time that I've seen multiple weapons, and I called a week or so ago about Xander, and the dude turned it around. That was the key.
That was it.
I love the team.
Brad, I like the team, too. I appreciate the phone call, man. Thanks again for calling in. I don't think he's fully turned it around yet. I think it's a nice little start. He needs to do it on a more consistent basis. Last phone call we'll take before we get to the game because we got a lot of people calling in for the today's prize. Let's get to Steve in San Diego. Steve, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Long time no talk. Steve, what do you got for me?
Well, this season reminds me a lot of last season where we had a lot of injuries and we had a lot of our subs getting extended playing time, which only benefited us in the long run. And I see the same thing happening this year. Plus, we get a really good look at these guys. So between Sheets and Wade, Iglesias, I think they're doing well. I think Gonzalez, man, he's a stud, but I think he's overmatched right now. He needs work on his hitting. But I think, the bright spot out of all of this is that these guys have gotten extended playing time, and I feel okay with them in terms of a game today. I'd love to wait till tomorrow. I mean, if Jackson Merrill's coming back tomorrow, it benefits us. Plus, the guys get an extra day off, a day of rest from travel.
I like that too, Steve, and I appreciate the phone call, man. Hopefully hear from you again in the future. I agree with Steve. I think it'd be better for the Padres if they don't play today. Have another day off. Get Jackson Merrill ready to go. I mean, they were not going to play him anyway. Traveling and playing is tough. I've done that before, even though I was not at high level. I feel like it's very susceptible to hamstring pulls, which is exactly what he's coming back from. Rather be extra cautious, especially if him flying today, rain in the area. He's already arrived in New York. He's not going to play today, and we'll see if the Padres play today. We will be playing our midday sports standoff, though, And Frank is prepared with his question, and we got contestants ready to go. Let's get to today's Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Dustin in Santee playing today. Dustin, how are you doing today, bud?
Good. What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Doing good. Okay, so today, Braden said it's a game where you have a game that you have multiple answers to. I don't know how many more answers you could possibly want than 190 possible answers.
Oh, my God. We're going to be here all day, Frank.
To this question. The question is today, who has played for both the Padres and the Yankees? Any player who has played for both the Padres and the Yankees.
Pitchers and position players?
Yes, pitchers.
Do you want to shave off like 78 players and just go to like hitters only?
We'll do hitters only. That'll work.
Now, that being said, it could be a pitcher that got an at-bat?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it can.
Sounds good.
All right, so Dustin.
Starting pitchers might be included in this thing.
Dustin, are you ready to go, sir?
Yes. I'll start off with Dave Winfield.
Dave Winfield is correct. So that is 1.
Boom. We're going to be here all day. Hall of Famer. Rest in peace. Ricky Henderson.
That is 1. Dustin.
Matt Carpenter.
That is 1, yes.
Good call. Good call. Kyle Higashioka.
Very good.
Phil Nevin.
Phil Nevin. Rolling down the list.
Was that a Yankee?
No, he was not a Yankee. I believe he was a base coach for them, though, right?
Yes,
I believe that's
he
what it
was. He got
The
fired
third
when he
base
didn't
coach.
send the guy in, or he sent the guy in the Red Sox series. Remember that?
Yes.
I got upset about that.
So first strike, Dustin.
I'm gonna go. It's so many. There's so many players on these trades. Michael King.
Michael King. Dustin.
Chase Headley.
Chase Headley. Braden.
I'm gonna go with Wandy Peralta.
Dustin.
Cano.
Robinson
Cano, yes.
Rougned Odor.
Rougned Odor, yes.
Shoot. No idea.
No.
Craig Nettles.
Craig
Wow.
Nettles, yes. Very good. Very good on that call.
Tim Hill.
Yes, Tim Hill.
Tim Hill. Yeah, that was a good one. Oh, man. That was my last one.
No.
Gary Sanchez.
Gary Sanchez, yes.
I can't believe I can't believe he hasn't said it yet. I'm still leaving one on there.
Couple you'll leave it on there.
Well, I'm going to leave this one for him. But I'm going to go with, how about this one? This is in a trade, I remember. Yanhervis Solarte.
Yes, that's a very good one. I like that one.
Oh, Soto.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dustin. Luke Voigt.
Sheffield.
Good one.
Gary Sheffield, yes.
Kirby Yates. He pitched 3 games.
Yep.
Or hit 3 games.
3 games with the Yankees.
Or hit 3 at bats against the Yankees, or with the Yankees, I guess. 3 games with the Yankees.
G-Man Choi.
Let me see. Hold on. Scrolling up the list here.
G-Man Choi was a Yankee. So many of these guys.
There
Brandon
are.
Drury.
Brandon Drury. Yes.
Greg Allen?
Greg Allen. Oh, nope.
Yes,
sorry.
it
My
is.
bad. Yes.
Where'd Greg
They
Allen
were
go to
right-
high school?
They
Dustin?
were right next to each other. So yes. Greg Allen, yes.
Greg Allen, where'd he go to high school?
I do not know that.
He's a Hilltop Lancer.
Oh,
He played one game. He played one game for the Padres. He stole second against the Angels in 2020 when he was acquired with Clevenger from the then Indians. Trent, did we say Trent Grisham?
We have not said Trent Grisham.
Man.
So these are the fun shootouts also where it's just right answer after right answer. Who's going to blink?
There's so many ones on here. I got another one. That's going to blow people's mind. How many strikes does he have?
1.
Oh, man. He's battling, though. Need an answer.
Might have to throw a timer up here.
Terrence Long.
Who?
Terrence Long.
Terrence Long.
You know who Terrence Long is? How about the what do you call the leader of the Players Association? Who's the guy for the
I
what's
can't
the
tell
title
you that
called?
because that's an answer.
Well, I know that's what my answer is. It's Tony Clark. He's from San Diego, Padre and a Yankee. What is he called? What's his official title?
Oh, I believe he's the president.
President of the Players Association, Tony Clark. All right, Dustin, let's go. Lock in, buddy.
Kevin Brown.
Yes. Cameron Maben.
Oh, no.
I have to start putting a timer in here.
Hitchcock?
What's his first name?
Sterling.
What about on the coaching staff at San Diego State, Mark Melanson?
Ay. Rizzo?
Yes, I was waiting for you to say that one. I remember this one because he was a Padre in 2003, and I remember when the Padres acquired him from the Yankees because he magically became their best player at Qualcomm Stadium. Ready for this? For a little bit of time. Rondell White.
Wow. Way back. Luke Voigt.
I believe
I already said Luke Voigt.
Yes, we have said that.
Strike two.
That is another problem with these long games.
Still lives in town. Still lives in town. Saw him at the USD game today. Xavier Nady.
Oh, no, that was right. That was right. No, that was
Frank,
right. That was
we're
right.
trying to end this
The
game.
buttons are right next to each other. I'm sorry.
Jace Peterson.
Poway Sportsplex legend. He's not out there anymore. Brett Tomko. Yankee Padre.
Solano?
What's his first name, buddy?
Donovan
Solano. Ruben Rivera. A lot of 98 team.
I'm going to have to throw a timer in here because we're getting close to the end.
And he's got 2 strikes. I got to get 2 strikes for it to be a tie.
Bubba Trammell?
Yes, Bubba Trammell.
All right, 5-second timer now.
5-second timer. Already said that one. What about Jim Leyritz?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm going to go back to it. Oh, no, that's a...
God, sausage fingers.
David Wells.
David Wells is right.
Chanho Park.
Rich Hill.
Rich Hill, the good one, a guy who's played.
Which Rich Hill are we talking about? The Hawaii baseball coach or the baseball player?
That one is right. That is, Rich Hill was not a Yankee.
Not a Yankee. That's it. That'll do it. End it. Stop
Dustin,
the count.
What?
Dustin's so
What a
close.
Fight.
My next answer was going to be Jerry Hairston Jr. I was running out of answers.
Yes, Jerry Hairston was. That was. I don't think any show has had a 10-minute game, and I don't think we're gonna have another one because that's a little ridiculous.
You decided to pick something that had 190 answers to it.
You know what the best part about that is?
What?
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, you know what?
I have learned my lesson to not do that again.
Or next time you do that, let us know, and we'll start at 10 a.m.
Fair enough.
We'll start the show early. Francie Cordero is another good answer.
There's a lot of these that are really Goose Gossage. That
Goose.
was one
Nobody
neither
talked
one of
about
you guys
Goose.
said. Tyler Wade's on the team now.
That's right, Tyler Wade.
One of you has said Michael King.
I said Michael King.
Oh, you did.
I did.
Fair enough.
How about Lance McCullers' dad? Just saw that.
Yep.
Man, Lance McCullers Sr. on that list too. When we come back, we'll take a look at Stephen Kolek. Just a spot start, real piece of pitching puzzle. Hear what Mike Schultz had to say about that. We'll get you an update on the Stanley Cup and then the NBA playoffs. San Diego FC bounces back and more on San Diego Someone Sports Station 97 through the Fan. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. We'll keep you updated on what the schedule is like this week if rain messes with the Padre game. Again, lineup has been posted, but who knows if the Padres will even play today. Weather out there is rough. Everybody keeps tweeting out if the Padres play today. I see somebody on Twitter goes, is Sheets hurt? Wasn't in the lineup yesterday either. They face left-handed hitters or pitching. Sheets will not be starting against left-handed pitching. So you're going to get it again later on in the week. Whatever the game is, it will be against Max Fried. You probably won't see Kevin Sheets in that game either. Jackson Merrill is not in the lineup today because he has been traveling to New York. He was expected to play tomorrow. So he is back with the team. They won't make a roster move until they need him. And he will probably play tomorrow. Which, if the Padres don't play today, will work out. Then you get Jackson Merrill for all 3 games of the Yankees series. Again, weather out there is nasty. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's look at what we got with Stephen Kolek. I thought Stephen Kolek's outing yesterday was good. Could have been. It's basically great. 5 1/3 from your 5th starter. Did not allow a run. Helped contribute to the Padres' 8th shutout of the season. And so the question becomes, was that just a spot start, or is it a real piece of the pitching puzzle? I think it is. Here's the thing with Stephen Kolek. And I said at the beginning of the season, I liked the way he was pitching. But I thought with his lack of experience as a starter, even though he was a starter with the Mariners before he transitioned to be a reliever, acquired by the Padres as a reliever, and then a starter, I thought he was going to get more time in the minor leagues. And that's exactly what he did. He went down and got some more time, got into a routine of being a starter. And in doing so, regardless of the ERA, again, this is why you don't look at numbers with a magnifying glass in the PCL. It's a hitter's paradise. Can't get the same movement on your pitches at a lot of these high-altitude places, hitting your spots, sometimes fly balls that would be fly balls in Major League Baseball or home runs in the PCL. So his ERA was a little inflated. But he's got a good fastball. He hits his spots, picks apart the zone on the edges. Does a great job. And with his higher velocity than Kyle Hart and the way that he pitched yesterday, I think he needs to be in the starting rotation this next time through. I thought that was going to be the case the entire year. With the 3 players that were battling for the number 5 spot in the rotation, I thought you were going to see all 3 of them at certain points of the year be the number 5 guy, because it takes more than just your 5 men in the rotation throughout the entire season. Some guys are going to go on the injured list. We've seen that already with you, Darvish. Some guys will miss some starts. You'll have some spot starts here and there. First time through was with Kyle Hart. I like what I've seen out of Kyle Hart. Now, here's the thing with Kyle Hart. He doesn't have a fastball that if he misses can still miss bats. He has to be very precise with his location. Otherwise, he's going to be in a world of hurt. You've seen that on both ends. You've seen that from a perspective of walks, and you've seen that from a perspective of leaking things over the heart of the plate. Against Chicago on the road, it was a lot of walks. Against Houston, it was a lot of over the heart of the plate. And so when you're Kyle Hart, the way your fastball is to play it off your sweeper, and your sweeper is an elite pitch, if you're not locating, you're not going to be successful. As a number 5 starter, you can have that, but you need him to work on his location a little bit more. And so now I think is the time for him to be in AAA and learn that a little bit and give Stephen Kolek a chance the next time through the rotation. And a couple of times through the rotation. What did Mike Schilt think about the outing? Here's Mike Schilt after yesterday's game talking about Stephen Kolek's outing.
Stephen Kolek looked like he was out there in spring training again, just efficient and getting it done.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, yeah, he was really good. Threw the ball for 5+ and controlled the strike zone, a lot of good life to it, and got us some quick outs and did a really, really good job.
Is that what? I mean, he's coming in, he's making his first big league start. Is that what you kind of were like, okay, if we can get this guy into the sixth and get to my bullpen, then I feel pretty good about today?
I feel good about that every day.
I feel good about that every day too, Mike. Padres have the best pitching staff in baseball right now, and a little bit of an upgrade right there with Stephen Kolek with a great outing against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Another shutout. And it is a big reason why the Padres have been so successful this season. It's been the pitching staff. I mean, the offense has been what the offense has been, and the offense is going to go through ups and downs. But the thing that really keeps you going is your ability to pitch. And pitching wins in the postseason, and every time you got to hear it, you got to have pitching. Well, you got that right now in the starting rotation with the top couple of guys. Nick Pivetta is looking to be a really good addition to this team. Michael King's been great. Dylan Cease has been shaky, but he's an up-and-down guy. I would imagine he's going to turn things around during a couple of spots during the year. It's just surprising that he's not putting together a full, complete season just because it is a contract year for him. Vasquez has been serviceable. I mean, 1 earned run on Saturday. That plays. Yeah, he's still learning how to pitch at the big league level. And now with the number 5 and Stephen Kolek continues where you can go on a little bit of a streak. And now you have your best 3 pitchers pitching in the Bronx against the New York Yankees. They just showed some, live footage of Yankee Stadium. It looks like it's drizzling now. But again, the heavy rain's supposed to happen around 6, 7 o'clock when the team is supposed to get underway, which is in about 3 hours or so, East Coast time. And it sets up for a pretty good series this week. Yankees and Padres. Who is this a bigger statement series for? Is it really making a statement for the Padres if they beat the banged-up Yankees right now? I think the Padres have shown that they can compete at a high level. Yankees off to a good start, not a great start. They've been struggling as of late. But in terms of the national media, not that we give a damn. Do we really care what they think? I don't really care what they think. It's nice to get some recognition, but at the same time, everything's going to be based on the East Coast. I like, from the perspective of just getting talked about enough, it'd be nice to take 2 out of 3 from New York. I don't think it's a must. I said it last week on the roundtable that in the 9 games, if you go 5-4, I think you can handle it. 6-3 would be great. Anything more than that would be fantastic. And so after sweeping the Pirates, you're in a really good spot right now where if you win 2 more games in their next 6, you'll have a winning road trip. You'll go 5-4 on the 9-game road trip. But to go back to Stephen Kolek again, I thought he did a great job. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Got a lot to get to still on the show. I do want to talk a little bit about San Diego FC. Had a huge bounce back 5-0 win over FC Dallas on Saturday. As Chucky Lozano got a couple of goals. Andres Dreyer got a goal. They jumped out early and they continue to put the pressure on. And Mikey Varis, after the game on Saturday, had a lot of important things to say that really coincide with the San Diego Padres. Do we have that sound? Here's Mikey Varis after the game talking about sticking to the process despite not getting the results during that losing streak that they snapped yesterday or Saturday.
I'm just so proud of the boys, how they came together. They've been coming together, We said, in Spanish, we said, en la buenas y en las malas. We're always together, united with our conviction and our effort. And that's what they've been doing from day one. And we went through a little bit of a rough patch. And we also had good moments. And then now we bounce back, and we bounce back in a big way because we play a complete game. We play so brave. We play with intensity, collectivity, and it's always coming from the training ground, over and over again. Training the right way, having convictions and discipline for our structure, principles, for our effort, and for our game plan. And we need to use this as a catalyst to continue growing.
I like everything Mikey Varas had to say. I mean, they're going to go through some rough patches. They already went through one early. San Diego FC jumped off to a hot start. I think a lot of teams have adjusted and have figured out how San Diego FC plays. I think you've seen that with kind of the losing streak that San Diego FC was on. But they jumped out and really just took it to FC Dallas on Saturday, a team that was coming off of the high of beating Inter Miami. Now, Inter Miami, that game didn't have Lionel Messi. They were resting him for the other league that they were playing in the was it the Champions Cup or something, Frank? What were they playing in? Inter Miami with the it was the
I can't remember, the Club World Cup, I think.
Yes, that's what it is. And so they were going to play later on that week, so they rested. FC Dallas had a quote, a win for the ages, as their head coach said. And since then, or at least on Saturday, San Diego FC got that penalty kick goal early to go up 1-0, and then they continued to put the pressure on and went out to a 5-0 victory over FC Dallas. It's a big win for them, and I think they've kind of weathered the storm a little bit. And again, sticking to the process. We've seen that with the Padres, going through some rough patches and sticking to them and understanding what they're doing is the key to success. Yeah, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. That's what it was. And so now you flipped it, and now it's about building off of that win, in which San Diego FC is going to have a lot of home games coming up here at Snapdragon Stadium and a lot of games in the month of May that they can use that momentum for. Here's Mikey Varas stacking the momentum up.
For me, it's about being consistent. So it's not that now we're going to change things because now everything's good. And before we were going to change everything because everything was bad. It's about being consistent. Every day you wake up, know that it's an honor and a responsibility to represent this amazing region, these amazing fans, and show up to work and work hard every single day, growing little by little. My challenge to the group is, can we grow? Can we take every opportunity to grow, to become more collective, more clear in our principles, more clear in our style of play? And if we do that over time, it's going to happen for us. It's going to happen for us. I've said it before, this club will be a big club. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But we want to be the generation who gets us there. And we need to take steps in the training every week. And so what we'll do is we will enjoy this one, because when you have a performance like that, you make sure you enjoy it. And then we're going to come into training and we're going to get back to work.
I really like Mikey Varas. I like what he talks about. I like his message. I think a lot of it's relatable. And again, we're trying to get as many non-soccer fans into San Diego FC as we can. We're trying to grow as much as we can. Every time we try to talk soccer, there's always some soccer fan that gets super upset with us not getting everything 100% correct. It's a new sport for us, dude. Trying to be on your side. But again, every time we try to talk about soccer and try to build it up, it's immediately met by this gatekeeping of I'm not allowed to do it, or you have to do things our way. We're just trying to enjoy the sport, dude. It's not that big of a deal. But the thing that I like about Varas, I think he's very relatable to a lot of different sports here in the United States, especially he has that kind of like American football mentality that I love. The aggression is great. I remember playing this clip after they beat Real Salt Lake. And the excitement, they're like, and a lot of times with soccer, man, it's like you get a lead and then you go in defensive mode and they want to go get the win. I like that about Mikey Varas. I like the way the team is playing and the attitude that they have. I think they're in good hands. And we'll talk more about San Diego FC on Friday with Drake Hills. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Got to keep you updated on the NBA and NHL playoffs. Did you see what happened last night in Winnipeg?
Fantastic game.
We'll tell you what happened if you missed it. It was incredible on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. It's Hour 97 through the Fans, brought to you by Frozen Ropes, San Diego. Hey, parents, here's a message from Coach Kurt with Frozen Ropes. Is your child 6 to 12 years old? Our baseball summer league is the perfect fit for your player starting June 16th through August 17th. Summer league includes 8 practices, 8 games. Go to SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. That's SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. Braden Surprenant Show. Frank Marchese joining me each and every day now from 10 to 2. Really appreciate all of his hard work. Talked a little bit San Diego FC in the last segment. We want to talk about what happened last night. Last night, I get home from the USD baseball game, and I'm sitting there. I'm at home. I didn't have, like, my throat still is not the greatest. It's still a little raspy. I don't think you can hear it on the voice. I've been drinking tea all day. I feel great. I mean, I don't feel bad. So I'm not like sick, but it's, 3 hours and 45 minutes of baseball yesterday, weekend full of calling baseball games for USD, which I have a blast doing. Again, not have to, get to. I get to do it. But today I went with the sick tea from Starbucks.
Doubled that, by the way.
I doubled it. The honey citrus mint, which I used to work at Starbucks when I was in high school and in college. And that was like a secret menu item. Secret menu. Again, secret menu was not a thing. We didn't have like recipes in the back. Secret menu items were like baristas and other people coming up with concoctions, if you will, that then they would expect you to know how to make. I didn't know how to make any of that stuff. And then I'd learn some of the things that I liked, or when work was slow, I would kind of play around and make some different things. I used to make some pretty good frappuccinos, but that's basically just ice and milk and sugar. So that was kind of like a milkshake than anything else. I used to make one that would taste like an Oreo shake. Could make the Captain Crunch one was delicious, all this other stuff. But one of the things that they would make would be what was called sick tea. It hits every single time. Anytime you got to sort, the sick tea is great. Now, it used to not be on the menu. You'd have to remember what it was. But it's called honey citrus mint. And what it is it's a jade citrus mint and some other tea. Oh, I guess it's right here. I guess I could look. From Tivana. It's a chamomile mint blossom and a jade citrus mint are the two tea bags that they use for the tea, and they use steamed lemonade, and they put in 2 packets of honey, and it's great. It's now medicine. People call it a medicine ball, but when it first came out, it was the sick tea, and now it's on the menu. And I'll have it when I'm not even sick, but it's great for the pipes. So I got 2 of those today, 2 ventis, because I knew one wasn't going to make it through the entire show. So I had the one. I still had to have my coffee. I have like 13 different cups in front of me right now. I got my coffee cup from my freshly brewed coffee at home. I have my Whataburger cup that's got the second tea in it. And then I have my regular water. And I don't know how I'm going to carry all these out. But that being said, I got the sick tea. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to make it through both. What do I do? And so I was like, well, what if I get 2 and then put 1 in the Yeti? It's exactly what I did. That has been the best idea I've had weeks. And I have a lot of great ideas. I don't know as many as Frank, but Frank has a lot of great ideas too, just they're only once a month.
Yeah, no, I get one good idea a month. And usually, like, I will have had a good idea like 2 days ago. And then I won't get my next good idea until like the end of June. So I go 2 months of being an idiot before, I get to appreciate my life again.
The ticker on the bottom, do we think that is a good idea or a bad idea?
It's a great idea until I remember that, I actually have to update this.
Then I got to do it again.
It's going to be an awful idea.
It's not still scalding hot. It's cooled off. M. McKee 23 in the chat. It's great. It doesn't taste like sick, Erik. Tastes delicious. It's keeping me going. I have a couple of cough drops. Again, not feeling sick, just a little bit on the throat. too much post-nasal drip with some allergies over the last couple of days, and then talking for 4 straight hours on top of the weekend stuff. So that's kind of wore me out a little bit. But I got home yesterday from a 3-hour and 45-minute baseball game. And Sunday Night Baseball was already wrapping up. Atlanta beat LA, which was great. And then I get a text from one of my friends. He's like, "Are we going to be talking about the Jets Blues game tomorrow?" And I said, "Probably not." And he's like, "Well, it's game 7 in overtime. You should probably turn it on." All right. I turned it on after Winnipeg. And I don't know if Frank was able to get the highlights or not. I turned it on after Winnipeg, the home team in the series, the number 1 seed in their particular side of the Stanley Cup playoffs, scored with less than a second to go to tie it, to force overtime for game 7. And then I flipped it on, and I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time. In fact, everybody in Winnipeg, for the entire overtime period, the first overtime period, didn't even sit down. How could you? It's sudden death overtime. It's not like in the NFL where it's like you got to drive and it's, you're putting something together, even though it might be sudden death in the NFL. It's not. They switch sides. And in the NBA, you played a whole quarter. It's you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to end. It's going to end immediately. Went through the whole overtime period. So many great saves back and forth. Guys playing their ass off. In the first round, final game of the first round of the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs. One overtime wasn't good enough. Then it's the second overtime. On the edge of your seat the entire time. They almost made it through the entire second overtime before Winnipeg finally won it. Late in the game. Late in the overtime period. Knocked off St. Louis 4-3, second overtime in game 7. I tell you what, I wish San Diego had an NHL team. I mean, right now, I'm still an Anaheim Ducks fan. Love the San Diego Gulls, obviously, as they're affiliated with the Anaheim Ducks. Ducks have been in a rebuild for years. I mean, they've been in a rebuild since I was in high school. It's been rough. They're getting better, though. They had a little bit better of a second half to the season this year. It's making the goals a lot better. So hopefully that builds into next year. But there's nothing really like the Stanley Cup playoffs. Out of all the professional sports playoffs, the Stanley Cup might be the best. It might be the best. It'd be nice if we had an arena here and we had an NHL team to witness. I mean, imagine all the great atmospheres we've had at Petco Park for MLB playoffs. Can you imagine the NHL here in San Diego? Wow. That'd be something. Everybody would be like, it would never happen because of the Ducks and the Kings. You know what? If you got enough money and the owners have a lot of bleep you money, anything is possible.
I mean, and if you look, ever since the Gulls came in, they've been top 5 at worst in attendance in the AHL. They've won it several years. Their very first year back, they were averaging, now this is not going to sound like a good number, but they've been averaging over 5,000 people a night ever since they came back. So hockey will do pretty well here if given the opportunity.
Well, I always tell people all the time. I've heard Ben and Woods talk about it years ago. About all the leagues that failed here, like the NBA's failed here twice. It's a different town than it was when those two NBA teams were here. When the Rockets were here, when the Clippers were here, which were also both before my time. It was a small Navy town. A small, sleepy Navy town. We're not a small, sleepy Navy town anymore. We can support every professional sports franchise. We can. Now, whether or not we can support them in sponsorships and suites and everything like that, that's different because we don't have as many Fortune 500 companies as a lot of other places do. But I'd love to have the NBA back. I'd love to have the NHL back. That question usually gets asked at least once a month. Oh, if you could get any other whatever, what would you get back? If you get another sports franchise, what would you pick? My first pick all the time is the NFL, but I'll take all of them. I don't really care. The unfortunate thing about the Clippers is that they just built a brand new state-of-the-art arena in LA. Steve Ballmer could have built that here, I guess. But there's nothing like the NHL playoffs. It's fun to watch. Tonight, it's the Florida Panthers and Toronto Maple Leafs game 1. That will start at 5 o'clock on ESPN. In the NBA, you had game 7 last night. Man, the Rockets got to be sick and tired of the Golden State Warriors knocking them out of the playoffs almost every single year. Almost every single year. 7-seeded Warriors beat the Rockets last night in game 7, 103-89. They were kind of playing with their food the last time they were in Houston because they knew they had the lead, and then Houston won game 6. They won game 5. They won game 6. They forced the game 7 back in Houston, and Golden State won 103-89. Indiana beat Cleveland in game 1, 138-83, which upsets Frank. Not because of the result, but the fact that you're playing round 2 before round 1 is over.
Drives me up a wall.
Just finish finish it. Just finish the round before you start another round.
Every other sport. If you win, if you sweep, fantastic. You're sitting for a week and a half while you're waiting for everybody else.
Yep.
Just finish the round before you start. And especially in a league like the NBA, where players are always crying about taking extra days off. I need a rest day. You're going to make them start another round before the previous one's over? I'm sure they'd be happy as hell with an extra day off, waiting for the round to finish. It drives me up a wall. I can't stand it.
Got games tonight. Knicks at Celtics. Celtics by 9.5, 4 o'clock TNT, game 1. Nuggets and Thunder, not at 4 o'clock, but they'll be after TNT game 1. We'll see. Both number 1 seeds are favored by 9.5 points tonight. I said it in my underdog read. Jason Tatum, higher than 27.5 points for the Celtics against the Knicks. And Jaylen Brown to hit 2 3-pointers. Higher than 1.5 3-pointers made for Jaylen Brown. It's easy, it's fun, and adds so much juice to the games. Underdog Fantasy. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, a final preview of the Padres and the Yankees. What to expect this week between the two teams. Are we even playing tonight? We'll try to get an update for you as it comes about. Braden Surprenant Show, final segment of a Monday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final segment of the Braden Surprenant Show on a Monday. I didn't think I was going to make it this far with the T, but the T has helped mightily. I got to get my hair cut later, and then supposed to play softball tonight. I definitely got to play in the 6 o'clock game. I'm going to see if we got enough people to play in the 9 o'clock game.
I think you'll have an easier time playing tonight than the Padres might.
It's possible. I just looked up the weather in the Bronx, according to weather.com. Steady rain this evening. Showers continuing overnight. Low 57. Winds east at 10 to 15 miles an hour. None of that really matters to us. Chance of rain, 100%. According to the weather app. To weather.com.
That wind blowing from left to right means a lot if you're a left-handed hitter. That means a whole lot.
Rainfall around a half an inch. Locally heavy rainfall possible. That's tonight. Tomorrow, thunderstorms in the morning, then variable clouds during the afternoon. Still chance of showers. High of 65. Winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Chance of rain in the Bronx, 80% tomorrow. 40% in the evening. 100% chance of rain tonight, according to weather.com. Whether they make them play in the rain will remain to be seen. They do have scheduled off days, both teams on Thursday. So they do have an open window to potentially play 2 on Wednesday. The fact that the chances of rain tomorrow night are 40%, I think you could be in a situation where they play tomorrow night and then they play a doubleheader Wednesday, and then you're back on track for Thursday. But we'll see. Haven't got a lot of information out of the Padres or out of the people covering the Padres that are out there. Man, it looks like, as Brett Boone has tweeted out 15 minutes ago, it sounds like Brett Boone's going to be the new hitting coach for the Texas Rangers.
Congratulations to him.
How about that?
Friend of the station?
Yes, friend of all the shows in the station. I don't know if he's still going to be an Odyssey Insider, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Probably not.
That might knock him out of the Odyssey Insider bit.
Is he going to... Yeah. I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe we'll definitely got to get Boone on now when they play the Rangers, huh? Every show's going to want to have him on. Congratulations to Brett Boone, new Rangers hitting coach in Texas. Worked for Boch. Interesting to see. I know he's been wanting to get in baseball for a long time now. Get back into baseball. I remember when he first came here to try to get back into baseball a little bit with doing some media stuff. He wanted to get back in the game in some capacity, and now he gets an opportunity to coach. I can't wait for the Rangers haven't played the Braves yet, have they? You can play his son-in-law, Nick Allen.
I don't think they have.
That'll be an interesting one. They got to circle that. You got to circle that series. But Brett Boone's the new hitting coach for the Texas Rangers. So congratulations to Booney. We're going to talk more about the Padres and the Yankees whenever they start, regardless if it's tonight or tomorrow. Now we'll be playing a 3-game series between the two teams this week. First matchup is supposed to be Nick Pivetta and Carlos Rodon. We'll talk more about that, but first let's get to your phone calls. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get to Will in Oceanside. Will, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Not much, Braden. Good to hear you. I haven't called in a while, but I had a comment about what I'm seeing, and I wanted to make a comment about our aggressiveness, and I mean the Padres' aggressiveness on the base path and the way they are going about it. About a month ago, I think it was Merrill said that somebody asked him if he felt pressure, and he said, no, we like to put on the pressure. And I really feel like maybe before, they had the confidence because everybody was healthy and they were running their game plan. And you didn't see that for a while when we went through that little slump. But I kind of feel like they're getting their mojo back and they're really starting to be confident about that. And I wanted to get your take on that a little bit because I really feel like I'm seeing errors happen from the other teams when we do that, when we're aggressive and we start to put pressure on them on the base pass and whatnot. And I'll take your comments off the air.
Well, I appreciate that, Will. Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit, but it's 100% true. The aggressiveness is definitely making other teams have to worry about the San Diego Padres, and putting the pressure on other teams, gives you an opportunity to take advantage of their mistakes and have them play into mistakes, which has been a huge key to the San Diego Padres. Padres don't feel pressure, they apply pressure. We have that drop somewhere saved from Jackson Merrill, but it's 100% true. It's like the whole thing with the contact play. It's why you run the contact play. You put the pressure on the infielder to field the ball, throw to the plate, have the catcher catch, tag. I mean, it's a lot of extra steps that you have to do in order to make that play happen. A lot of that happens on the base pass with other things. They've ran into runs with double steals, putting the pressure on the other team to have to make decisions. And that's why, all these different styles of play for the Padres are leading to wins. When you're multi-functional and you can find different ways to win, you're going to be a very successful baseball team. Using small ball, using the long ball, grinding out at bats or jumping on the fastball early, using your pitching and defense or having your bats carry you. I mean, that's been the case with the Padres all year. I don't think there's been one standard way that the Padres have won games. It's been multiple ways. It's a lot different than 2023 when they were just waiting for the big hit. They're going out there and taking the win. You saw that on Saturday. Fernando just went out there and grabbed. He just went and took the win. He's like, we're going to go win right now. Hits a leadoff double. Gets stranded at second after Arráez grounded out. Steals third base as Machado strikes out, and then steals home on a loose ball in front of the plate, and is quicker than Joey Bart. He went and took that win. Latest update we have on the Yankees rain delay forecast Twitter account. 2:45 Yankees weather update is an hour ago. Heavy rain clearing New York City before 7:05 first pitch. Expect playable weather until 10 to 11 o'clock. I don't know about that. We'll check the radar again. We'll see what kind of updates we get. If the Padres do play the Yankees, tonight it will be Nick Pivetta versus Carlos Rodon. That is tonight's pitching matchup for the San Diego Padres against the New York Yankees. Yankees are 19-15, first in the American League East. Got a plus 52 run differential, which is fourth best in Major League Baseball. 11-8 at home this year. They're off to a strong start in 2025, leading the AL East by 2 games despite some recent inconsistency. Offense has powered them through a wave of injuries, leading Major League Baseball in slugging percentage and in OPS at a .470 slug and an .816 OPS. Lineup is top-heavy but extremely dangerous, led by MVP-level production from Aaron Judge and surprisingly strong numbers from Trent Grisham and rookie Ben Rice. Pitching staff's been very up and down. The starters have not been very good outside of Max Fried, who you're expected to see on Wednesday. Rotation ERA is a 4.07, 17th best in Major League Baseball. Bullpen ERA is a 3.03, 7th best in Major League Baseball. Injuries to Marcus Stroman, Garrett Cole have left the rotation with questions behind Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. Luis Gil, again, another pitcher that's supposed to be back in June. That's a huge loss for the Yankees. Fried and Rodon are definitely carrying some heavy workloads right now early in the year. Aaron Judge has been carrying the team a little bit himself. 3 home runs and a 1598 OPS in the last 6 games. He's hitting .423 on the season. Cody Bellinger's done well in the last 6 games, a .931 OPS. He's starting to heat up. Paul Goldschmidt, veteran presence with an .828 OPS during a recent stretch. Austin Wells has supplied some power, but he's hitting just a .190 on the year. Devin Williams did lose his closer role, but tossed 3 scoreless frames last week. So a couple of players are starting to play a little bit better, but the Yankees as a whole. you're probably getting them at the right time. Today, you're going to see Nick Pivetta versus Carlos Rodon. Rodon 4-3 with a 3.43 ERA, leads Major League Baseball in hits per nine with a 4.7, 52 strikeouts, and 44 and 2/3 innings pitched. 3 straight quality starts, 0.95 ERA in his last 3 starts, so he's starting to heat up a little bit. And career against the Padres, he's done well against San Diego. 2.88 ERA in 4 career starts. He's going against Nick Pivetta. Pivetta 5-1 with a 1.78 ERA. He's really turning into a great pitcher for the San Diego Padres. And a big pickup. In fact, and we didn't even get to this today. You know, they were picking executives' best 2025 free agent signings. 4 of the 20 executives picked Nick Pivetta. That's the second most votes. That's a huge pickup for the Padres, and he's showing it right now. I would say that Nick Pivetta is currently the number 1 pitcher for the Padres. I don't think I'm out on a limb on that. And right now, your rotation is set up as it should be in order right now. Pivetta 1, Michael King 2, Dylan Cease 3, Randy Vasquez probably 4, and then you got Stephen Kolek 5. So when Yu Darvish comes back, does he come in for Vasquez? And then you go Kolek 5. I mean, to go Pivetta, King, Cease, Darvish, and then Kolek / Vasquez / Kyle Hart. That's a pretty good rotation right there for the San Diego Padres. Pretty good rotation there for the San Diego Padres. Padres will take on Clark Schmidt on Tuesday, pending rain. He was recently scratched with side soreness. Inconsistent since shoulder injury, just 3 starts in 2025. He's 0-1 with a 5.52 ERA. Wednesday is supposed to be Max Fried, who's been their best. Former Padres farmhand, who's 6-0 with the Yankees so far with a 1.01 ERA. He's done a good job of filling in to an extent for Garrett Cole, even though he's a left-hander. Former Padres draft pick, struggled in 2024 in the National League Wild Card Series against the Padres, 5 runs in 2 innings. Career against San Diego, a 2.30 ERA in 5 regular season starts. That is how the rotation lines up for the Yankees this week. Got their power hitters, 4 hitters with 8 home runs already, Judge, Grisham, Rice, Volpe. Depth has versatile contributors like Ben Rice and Trent Grisham. Very balanced lineup with a righty-lefty mix with solid on-base guys throughout the lineup. Their weaknesses, starting rotation depth, closer and ability, although Luke Weaver's done a good job filling in since they demoted Devin Williams. And a lot of players are out for the Yankees right now. Now's the time to strike on the New York Yankees. We will try to get you updates during Gwynn and Chris as they lead you into the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show that's expected to start at 3:05. Short show for Gwynn and Chris today. Again, we will know kind of firsthand out of everybody when it comes to the rain updates, just because we have to plan in advance for a lot of different things for our shows and everything like that. So keep it right here on 97.3 The Fan. Frank, any last takeaways before Padres and Yankees coming up?
Just beat the Yankees. That's all I care about. I'm a simple guy. I root for any team that is going up against the Yankees. That's it. It's as simple as that.
What's your if the Yankees played the Phillies, who are you picking?
I'd be picking a nuclear apocalypse is what I'd be picking. I would. It depends. If it's a World Series,
Series, that'd be the worst case scenario for you.
Well, it's happened, 2009.
I know.
I'd pick the Phillies for a World Series, but if it was a regular season, I would have to take the Yankees.
You have to take the Yankees. Worried about the division.
Yep, because that's 1 game away from the division for the Phillies.
What's your ranking of Major League Baseball teams you hate the most?
Yankees, Phillies, Braves.
Really?
Dodgers are slowly climbing up the list.
Well, as they should.
Yes.
Yankee. You only play them 4 times a year.
Right, but I have to deal with the people.
It's the people more than anything else.
365 times a year.
The interleague rival is more important.
Yeah, well, it's not the interleague rival; it's the inner
City
rival.
in the interleague. That's fair.
I just Yankee fans are way too much, way too often.
What's worse, a Yankees fan or a Dodgers fan?
Oof.
That's why the World Series was rough.
I think the Dodgers are. I think Dodger fans are worse because they don't have the lineage that the Yankees do to back it up, back up the talk.
Nobody's lost more World Series than Los Angeles Dodgers.
There you go.
He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the Braden Surprenant Show. Hopefully, recapping a Padres victory over the Yankees. If they play, Gwynn and Chris coming up next on San Diego Sports Station 97 to the Fan.